Whoop whoop.
What up, y'all?
It's Friday night. You know what time it is. It's Thuggalo show time.
Little late,
It's a
but
little late. Your boy literally just got off the bus coming back from Ohio. Uh, I finally woke up out of a crack daze and was like, damn, I'm still not home yet. So I caught a bus and it took me like a day and a half to get back home. But we
it's
did it. I
St.
look
Louis.
tired as fuck. What's up, chat? What's
What
everybody
up,
doing
y'all?
tonight? So
So
it's a
I guess we
special.
can.
Oh, you want to get to it?
I was just about to say, yeah, I guess we can address why it's just me and you on screen for right now.
So everybody in the chat type fuck Spectrum if you're watching. Because Onstead is having internet problems and it's not his fault. He actually has an excuse. So he has no internet right now. He's not here tonight.
He did not hit the tank hard enough to fish out and knock out the router. That's not what happened. It's just
Bro,
fucking-
honestly, that's probably what happened. Is dude hit the tank
He just don't want to
and
tell
cracked his dome off his router, and he doesn't know what happened to his internet.
No, that is
But
not what happened.
it's regardless if On says here or not. It is a special night. It's somebody that I'd like to have on the show for a while now, and now that we can finally make it happen. I'm not gonna say that I've known this dude since day one, and I'm his biggest fan. I will say that I'm a damn good fan of his ever since I've got to know him personally. Before actually heard maybe one or two tracks of his before. Met him at the gathering and was like, that is a fucking real ass ninja. And now I completely love everything he does. It's been a long time coming. If everybody can give a warm welcome to the one and only motherfucking MADD himself.
What is good?
What
Glad
is
to
good,
be
bro?
here. I not for nothing. I appreciate that saying that you wanted to have me on for a while now. I will say I know that you are a somewhat newer because from what I've seen, however far back there were other people who I guess are no longer there. But I've been peeping the Thuggalo show for a long time, and I've definitely been interested in getting down because there's only so many people that are really like out there trying to genuinely represent the culture. So I definitely fuck with that. And not for nothing, you guys have definitely done some fucking heady shit. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys interviewed Jay, right?
Yep, Volunteer himself.
Yeah, that's dope as fuck, dude. Like, and especially not only just because y'all did it, but the fact that he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Yeah, he is.
because if there's one thing that can be said about Jay over the years is that he will not co-sign some shit unless he co-signs it. So, fucking, I think that's super dope. I am glad to be here. Much love to everybody that is showing through. Will show through. Watch this on the repeat at some point. But no, real glad to be here, man.
Cool, bro. It's really good to have you. So I'm tired as fuck. Like I said, I just got off the fucking bus tonight.
I got you.
Normally we have Onstead, like I said, he's
Right.
not here tonight.
And then I know for me, I don't know you as well as
Right.
Tony does for sure.
Sure.
He's like you know MAXXX, right? You know what I mean? When we were talking about getting you on the show, and I was like, I think I've heard of him before, but I never listened to him.
Right.
He shot me the music video that we used that I did the promo video with.
Right, yes, sir.
I was like, holy shit. I was like immediately it was like, this is fire as fuck.
Well, hey, thank you very much, man. And listen, not for nothing. That video specifically was done very specifically with where it was done, with the way that I did it, with every shot in that video was meant to be somehow significant. Because that's the Worcester Palladium right there. Like just recently during the Shaggy tour, I was up there I was rocking with Problematic, rocking with Non Mills, rocking with Tierra Diaz, and fucking the Shaggy was talking about on stage. Worcester is one of the original OG clown towns, like original shit. And trust me when I tell you that Worcester is one of these places that and you might only have one more chance at this point, but if you can see a clown show in Worcester, like it's a religious experience. Like I've seen ICP a few different places, mostly on the East Coast, once in Atlanta. Um, I saw a Juggalo crowd in Colorado. I've seen the Twisted crowd, although I didn't actually get inside the show. And I've seen Ch.2, who he did Serial Killer
Mhm.
during his set, his verse for Serial Killer, which was definitely, I don't know that I've ever seen him do it other than that. So that was pretty tight. But
We
Worcester
actually
is
just
one of these. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
no, we actually just hosted a show the same night that Tech9 was in town in Columbus, and we sold that bitch out
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. No, that's good shit. And you want to know what?
alongside Vist.
Here's the other part is that, oh, that was the same night Tech9 is in town. That's fat. That's funny.
Right.
But no, listen, let me tell you something. I went to that show and I only went because my homie basically put it to you like this. I was going to go out there and just jug it out in the parking lot like I always do. And fucking my homie ended up not going. She was like, hey, do you want a ticket? And you can hit me back for it. And basically, I went in there, and Tech is not who he used to be. Like I seen this motherfucker wilding in face paint at the Gathering in like 2004, 2005, 3, whatever the fuck it was. And now watching what he's doing with all the lights and the video screens and like that whole crowd, most of it is Hollywood Undead. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
they were like a real popular group. Tech9 pulls them out. Don't get me wrong. There's no question.
Right.
But at the same time, he went on tour with Hollywood Undead for a reason. Because he technically, when you really think about it, he is at a level where he don't got to work ever again if he wants to.
No,
Nah, it's
He
a good
co-signs
way of
people
washing
and-
some money.
Well, no, true indeed. And that's kind of what I'm saying. That's why he's touring with fucking Hollywood Undead. Bro, let me tell you something. I've been to the Worcester Palladium many, many times in my life, and I have seen some shit there. And the crowd for that Tech9 Hollywood Undead show was the strangest, most varied crowd I ever seen in my life. Like me and all my people were there. I seen tons of people that I knew because Juggalos in Worcester go hard. And Juggalos in Worcester have always gone hard for Tech9. And apparently, if I heard correctly, they got to like choose which shows they were going to, which shows they get to close. And apparently Hollywood Undead requested to close Worcester, which it didn't make sense to anybody that Tech9 was opening for Hollywood Undead in Worcester. But when I heard that, I was like, oh, well, no, I understand that because Tech9, like I said, he pulled them out. That show sold out. But at that same time, there were a lot of Hollywood Undead fans, but there were a lot of old school Juggalos in that crowd because I'm pretty sure because I left before because he did a few songs. Then once he started doing his new shit, I was like, I don't know any of this. I'm probably just gonna go. So I went outside, and I was told that he apparently shouted out like I don't know if he whooped or what he did, but he did some shit where he was like, "I know where I am." Like I love y'all, and fucking, it's a funny thing with all that shit, just because Tech9 is in a position where he's done what he's done, and Juggalos for sure helped. Like it's impossible to say that Juggalos did not help Tech9 get up, but at the same time, you can't you can't make it just that.
Yeah. I think honestly I'm really glad that you said something about that. I think honestly Juggalos kind of Trey, would you think that Juggalos kind of paved the way for Tech9? Yeah, that was an immediately yeah. Like,
Well, I mean, listen, this is kind of my point is that Juggalos didn't pay. I would only take issue with the way that you say it, and this is why. I think that Juggalos helped lift Tech9 up during his initial rise, and they helped give him the additional boost to get him all the way up. Because you have to remember, he did his verse on Serial Killer on the Green Book, so that was 2003. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a long time ago, and I can't remember the next song that he did with Psychopathic, because a lot of people also noticed after long enough that he recycled a verse on Serial Killer. So I can't remember if Madhouse was the next one, which that song is fire. I assume y'all know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
You don't know about Madhouse, ICP, and Tech Nine?
Yeah. I'm sorry. It cut out for me.
track.
Yeah, no, that's what I was. Yeah, no, it's a Madhouse. That song is fucking ridiculously fire. But then there was also, I think that might have been the next one, but then Scream was after that, which Scream was good. I don't
first heard Tech Nine and Thug Pit.
Thug Pit. You want to know what? Thug Pit was always such a funny thing to me because I heard the song when it first came out, and you got Esham dissing the fuck out of Eminem on that song, and then fucking they re-released another version of it because everybody on there was like, dude, we can't be associated with fucking all this Eminem hatred when fucking we have nothing to do with it. And then fucking I can't remember, I honestly don't even remember the changed version. But and by the way, I will also point out, it's not like I know for sure and that's what happened, but give me a better reason why he put another verse on that song.
I don't know. I've never really. Damn, you do some deep thinking on shit that I've never really even sit there and realized.
Bro, you got look, dog. I'm 38 years old and I've been jugging since I was fucking 13. Like, and I take this shit seriously in a way that a lot of other people do not. And by the way, that is for better or for worse, and there is plenty of worse to it. Trust me on that shit. When they say juggalo ain't a hobby, that shit is real. Like,
I'd firmly believe that too.
Like, and because you want to know what? Here's the difference: that you can be a juggalo and take care of your shit and be a decent person and live your life in a good way, but juggalos behave in a certain way, they think in a certain way, and they operate in a certain way. And so, for that, it's just like, I look at this, and the other part is that I've been a juggalo artist for such a long time where you got to understand, man, the world that I grew up in, you did not talk juggalo shit on the track. Like that considered super corny. Like you don't do that shit because like hound dogging basically. And not for nothing, they did plenty of songs where they talked about that, like Follow the Leader on Opaque Brotherhood.
Right.
That song is all about fucking like a game of Simon Says, but I never said Simon. Just splash a little paint on their face and start rhyming. Like, I don't know, man. It's also a shame because, and I've said this a lot of different places, because I used to feel very differently about the ICP Twisted situation. Like, very long story short, I worked with a crew for a period, and during that time, it was actually kind of both times or two times, but one time in particular where somebody basically said something to me along the lines of, you wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for me. And the reality at that point is that as a man, if that's what you have to say, it's almost like it's an instinctual thing. Like, fuck that on principle. I'll go do my own thing if that's what I got to do. Because I'm not going to live my life being told that I would not exist if it was not for you. So there's that. But as the time's gone by, as far as Twisted specifically is concerned, like, and this actually came up because doing my podcast, Carnival Grounds, we went through Dark Lotus a couple of times. And Derek, the Reverend Television, is very fucking, he's way deeper on this shit than I am. Like, if you want to have an intellectual conversation about Juggalo shit, y'all should have him on, man. He is fucking, he thinks about the shit in ways that, like, and here's the other thing. He follows everything. You watch, every interview, every fucking, podcast recently, all different kinds of shit. And my thing about Twisted is that fucking, I can understand wanting to set out on your own. I get that. But the idea that in doing that, you have still decided to cling so tightly to this thing that you were supposedly claiming independence from. Like, I'm not going to lie. And I said this on my own show. I was for a time just kind of being like, oh yeah, they're gonna do Dark Lotus on stage at their shows, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ha ha. Because making 17%ers mad is funny to me. But at that same time, now that I look at it a little bit more objectively, and I'm not looking at it in the same vein, it really is like Astronomicon doing fucking Dark Lotus photo ops. That's like, that is a level of cornball shit that I just, because if you wanted to get away from this thing and try to say that you didn't need it to be successful, then why would you continue to default towards it?
Right.
It's like, and especially the fucking, when you look at the disparity in the size of the fan base, because Twisted still has people that listen to them dedicated, but at the same time, it's easy to look at the stats and then look at the size of the shows and see who is having the vastly bigger crowd. So it's just like, why continue? And not for nothing, like I said, going through Dark Lotus is what made me feel this way. Because when you listen to shit like Juggalo Family or Death Don't Want You, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get to say this shit is for life, and then again, I understand wanting to set it on your own, but you know, the march, unfortunately, because again, for me, it was a different thing. I was living a different life. My kids were younger. I couldn't go to it. And I also, you know, at the time was not as fucking passionate about Juggalo shit. I got to be honest. I had kind of, it comes in waves. You've done it for this many years, kind of, you know, goes up and down. But I'm also not Twisted. You know what I'm saying? Like, but my face is not tattooed on literally thousands of people's bodies.
Right.
So at that point, suck it up for a fucking day. Yeah, I understand that you don't like the way that you were treated. I understand that you don't want to submit yourself to somebody else's will, but I don't know, man. Like I said,
it's kind of hard when that person is fucking feeding you and paving the way and trying to give you success, and has literally been.
Oh well, no. And by the way, this is another reason why I feel that way, is because when you look at it from the, and I remember this originally when ICP used to go on fucking Howard Stern, they brought Twisted with them, and they didn't have to fucking do that. They absolutely didn't have to do that. If you listen to the music, ABK is on so much shit during the era of the Six. He's all over shit. And the reason why is because he was just getting into the crew and they wanted to be able to fucking promote him. And so he was on all kinds of legendary shit, which, by the way, I will also say at a bare minimum that Black Rain, Dirty History, and Hatchet Warrior also are Juggalo classics. There's no, I don't give a fuck.
He's a fucking legend for that.
And that's my thing, is that I think that this conversation is difficult for me just because I understand from a lot of different perspectives about why it would be that way. But that's what I'm saying. As I get older, the more I look at it, I really absolutely do understand where it's not so much that Twisted wouldn't be nothing if it wasn't for ICP. But the difference is that when you leave Psychopathic Records and when you decide to just set out on your own like that, you're not part of Juggalo culture in the same way anymore. Whether or not you're even still part of it just by association, whatever, that's up for debate. But you're not part of it in the way that you were part of it. And so at that point, it's, again, weird to like either go 2 feet out or you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's really not how Juggalo shit works. Juggalos kind of notice that too. You know what I mean? Like, if you're for real about the shit, then, you know, like, they're going to roll with you. But that's one of those weird things, too, where people would say, you know, like, Juggalos are a hard crowd. Juggalos, I don't think, are a hard crowd. You just got to be fucking real. And you got to not suck. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen a lot of shit at the Gathering get play, and it wasn't, you know, definitely wasn't the best shit I ever heard. So...
like, you know, when you had spoken on, like, you know, and I think, and I grew up in the same, because I'm 33, Elixir's like 36, 35.
Yeah. Okay, so, true indeed. I'm 38, so we're pretty close.
We're all kind of, I first got exposed to ICP in 1998, 97.
Okay, true indeed, 97.
Within like 6 months of that shit. And and when you're talking about like Juggalo rap, you really couldn't use like lore and stuff in the rap because like it came off like really cornball and stuff. How do you so take it like Darby O'Trill
Well, so that's the thing
assigned.
is that
He's doing it very, very well.
no, I agree, and that's the thing. Listen, let me tell you, everything that I've heard from Darby so far, I've liked. I will go on record as saying that the name Darby O'Trill, and I think I've told him this, is the best fucking rap name of all time.
Right.
Like I don't know if you're familiar with Darby O'Gill and the Land of the Little People, but it's pretty fucking great. And it's like hearing the shit that he's done, the one that I remember specifically, and I'm not gonna lie, when it first hit me, I was like, oh, all right, no doubt. But the more that I think about it, that is the way that it's being done now. And so it's like, it is pretty dope. I think the line was, this is not track 10 of AJB, so do not play with me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's clever. We get to waving wands like the great Malenko. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do fuck with it. And I will also say, by the way, I don't give a fuck if it's controversial. I will go on record and say that Darby O'Trill is a far and away better rapper than Ouija Mac. That's just my opinion. I personally think
that is
he's
a very hot take.
And by the way, it's not about like to me. Oh no, go ahead.
I listen. Me currently, and Elixir differs. Elixir listens to a lot of. If we was to compare, we are the polar opposite. As much Darby as I listen to, that's Ouija for him. And
Okay,
as much
true, dude.
Ouija as I listen to, that's Darby for
Right.
him. So, but yeah, I'm Team Darby. Have been since I found the kid a couple years ago. And
Well, so and by the way, I got to tell you one thing, and I couldn't even actually put a year on it. But I am going to say Darby O'Trill specifically, excuse me, I'm very sorry. He has been around, excuse me, twice, a really long time. Like,
sure.
Right.
a really long time. He just was doing his own thing in his own lane. And not even just that he's been doing his own thing for a long time. But pre-Chapter 17, he was signed to LSP. And, you know, scum don't fucking, fuck with people that are not on point.
Yeah. See, I liked Darby before he was LSP.
No, true. There you have it. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's been doing this shit for a long time. And I got to tell you, one thing for me specifically, because of A, the way that I've chosen to live my life, and B, because of just this is how I feel, I have a lot of love for anybody that is dedicating their time and dedicating their life to Juggalo shit. Like, not like whether or not we agree on something, whether or not we even really like each other in a lot of cases, if you're for real about Juggalo shit, then at the very least there is a certain amount of mutual respect. But then it also comes down to whether or not are you a decent person, and that's a whole other conversation. So I just I think that, and by the way, I've gone on record and said this multiple times because I know a lot of old schoolers get real jaded about shit. But Chapter 17 has immersed itself in Juggalo culture in a way that nothing really has since Twisted.
Right.
And
I agree.
That is something where at this show in New Hampshire, I got there early basically because it was all electronic tickets because Fury was doing something with Eventbrite. And I didn't know how to send them to people. I didn't feel like taking the time to figure it out. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show up real fucking early.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes in, it's like, hey, these 6 are with me. All right.
Right.
However many it was. I think it was 6, maybe more. Who remembers? I do remember that this one kid, I got there early, and I want to preface this by saying, I wish somebody in my family was awake so I could ask them, how long was it that I had this purple Hatchet Man? I have no idea. Somebody gave me this big purple Hatchet Man decal. And I don't know how many years I had it. Long fucking time. And then for whatever reason before this show, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to bring it up there for whatever reason, maybe somebody will buy it. And I meet this kid, and he's young. He's up there for the week, head to toe in fucking Chapter 17 merch. And he's there super early, as far as I can tell, just because, like, he ain't got nothing else going on. And the show is tonight, which I fucking feel that in my soul. That's been me for fucking 15 years at this point. But so we're fucking hanging out, and this kid, like, I don't remember if he had any tattoos or not, but he like really felt fucking Ouija Mac shit. You know what I mean? Like he was
Right.
talking about how he was like had to be I don't want to, well, you know what, I'm not saying the kid's name, so fucking like he was, I can't remember if he said he was selling drugs, but he like driving drunk on back roads and shit. And he felt like the music that he was listening to, the Ouija Mac, was fucking like, if not predicting, but he felt like it just was, he felt like he was living through the music, like the music was
Right.
somehow telling his story. And I was like, it really made me think, because that's, I've been looking at ICP like that for most of my life, where a lot of these things, it's like, oh shit, that's, there it is right there. And fucking what I said to him that night was that fucking we create the significance by putting our energy into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you listen to, everybody hears it a different way. And so when you listen to it and it fucking resonates with you, just like, I mean, dude, that's what we're all fucking doing here.
Right.
But everybody has this different perspective to it, where like certain lines, I like, they don't necessarily resonate with me, but I can hear where like certain things that would really fucking hit hard for somebody. And the fact that that has happened with Ouija Mac and Darby O'Trill, I have seen people down as fuck on his shit. And to see that done by juggalos that are just fucking, that we're given a shot, I think that's super dope. What I will say, just very quickly to put a pin on that, is I am very disappointed that Hex left. I met him at the gathering in 22 or 21, and he was one of the coolest people I've ever met. And he had a lotus tattoo on his shoulder, and it was the kind of lotus tattoo where it was like he just wanted to get that shit because he was fucking down on lotus. And it makes me sad that he's not on chapter 17 anymore. I like the direction that they were going with that.
Yeah. So I
think
want to
he's
go
just trying to
back.
get his own bag.
Yeah, I think that.
Oh no, and you want to know what? And so he's going to, and I think that's fucking great, because he's what he does is fucking solid. I got one of the water guns
Yeah.
at the show. I like them things.
Yeah, I wish I could have got one of those.
But yeah, I kind of want to go back with like when you said, you know, how it kind of comes in waves, like the Juggalo.
Right.
Like, when you've been doing it for a while. So yeah, obviously like Stony, I kind of discovered it in '99. That's when I first got down. My first concert was Twisted and shit.
No doubt.
So
Sure,
like,
dude. Which one? What tour?
Mirror.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
You want to know what? I was not down on Twisted by then. My first Twisted show was a Green Book show. It was a real small show in Long Island. But
right.
No, well, so Stoney, what was your first show?
Well, my first show was Hell's Pit in 2004 because I hitchhiked to that bitch.
No shit, fair enough. No, listen. So Hell's Pit, was this Hell's Pit in Colorado?
No, this was in Oklahoma.
Oh, were you? Okay, fair enough. Hey, you want to know what? I'm not familiar with that locale. I don't know. I would imagine they go, you know, Juggalos, especially back then, Juggalos went way harder. But I don't really know much about the Oklahoma crowd.
It's like Oklahoma, Texas people. And
okay, so indeed. Well, I know about Texas. I'll tell you that shit.
I was so fucking young, dude. Like,
oh, I feel you, bro.
Like,
my first show was in 2000.
Imagine being 14 and you just hitchhike 2 hours to get to this fucking show. Never really been around big groups of juggalos before.
Right.
Ninjas would walk up and like let you hit their blunt, and I was like,
yeah, oh, bro,
and then like that.
The only
some acid
go. Oh shit! All right, well, you got me beat.
Yeah, dog.
Right, but yeah, going back to what I was saying too about the like. So the reason I can say that I ride so hard for 17 is because in one of my slumps, and it was probably the worst one too, because it wasn't just like a slump where I wasn't fucking with Juggalo shit. I was also an addict at that time. You know what I mean?
Right. I feel you, bro.
Opiate addiction and shit.
Right.
So right as I got into sobriety. And that's right when chapter 17 was really fucking taking off.
Right.
So, like, not only did, it, pique my interest and got me back into the, Juggalo scene, but it also made me want to be involved and like in the magic of it all and everything like that.
Right.
Yeah, me and
like he really brought me. Yeah, he really brought me.
And this is, and bro, that's kind of my point, is that I have met a lot of juggalos that are old schoolers that feel that way about Ouija Mac, where they feel like it is bringing some of the magic back for them. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I know that there's a lot of other old schoolers that, because Ouija Mac does this style of music, that they're not into it. Because they come from the world that I grew up in, where lyricism was king, and that was all that it came down to. And by the way, there was a time where, because Twisted was the more lyrical group, or not the more lyrical group, but the more, like, let's call it over the plate hip hop, like, they were more flowy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no. I'm agreeing. I don't know if you can see me shaking my head.
I was gonna say, as my mother would say, I couldn't hear your brains rattling. But in any case,
I don't have a whole lot to say about Twisted, because like Green Book is really the only thing that I ever listened to them, and I would catch Purple Show every once in a while. You remember that?
Okay. Nah, you want to know what? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Other than that, I really don't have anything to say about Twisted.
It was a shock to me that they never tried to go into sketch comedy. But, and listen, let me tell you something. For Twisted was a difficult thing for me, because in my early days, being a juggalo, hanging with the people I was hanging with, which in this era of my life, learning how to rap, was in high school. And in high school, I was hanging out with mostly gangbangers. And fucking these guys, ICP was basically, you were gonna get like clowned on. Like, you were gonna get like, nah, this shit is like, nah, that's them dudes that Eminem is beefing with, right? Like, you just get goofed on. Twisted was somebody that nobody heard of, but they could actually spit. And so when you play that shit around some of the homies, they were like, oh, okay, these dudes can actually rap. And so in my mind, it gave me credence to be like, you can be a juggalo and still be around these people.
Yeah.
Because these guys are juggalos and they rap like this. And like, I've told this story before, when I was just learning how to rap, like, had barely written anything, like just starting how to learn how to rap. In certain freestyle sessions, I would spit the Somebody's Dissing You verses from, I can't remember which one I would default to more often, but I would start with that and then just try to freestyle after that. And because again, just getting the fucking, trying to get the courage to join the cypher at all. But again, like I said, it gave me credence to feel like I can be a juggalo and be in this space, because even though ICP is looked at this way, when I rap this shit, people are like, oh, that was dope. So maybe I can do this way. And again, like I said, there has been for a long time, and I think to a certain extent it is still this way, there is a stigma around being a juggalo in most of the rest of the world. And if you look at pop culture, you can see the kind of punchline that we are. And it's a fair punchline. If you've ever been to the gathering or ever really hung with juggalos, a lot of them are fucking feral retards. But
damn.
Hey, we can smell our own. What, are you kidding me? I've been out here a long time. I have been feral and retarded since fucking 2000s. Didn't have ones in front. Didn't have numbers in front of them. And since before 2000s. And this is my point though. Juggalos are not all that way. And here's the other part of it. Juggalos, realistically, everybody wants to talk about social awareness. Everybody wants to talk about, like help the less fortunate. Everybody wants to talk about we need to help people that need help. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of juggalos, the way that they've always been looked at, this fucking white trash thing, like, these are people that are dealing with serious shit. A lot of them are dealing with illnesses. A lot of them are dealing with mental illnesses. A lot of them are there are only so many people in the world who can say they've had a family member murdered, a family member kidnapped. And I've met juggalos multiple times that have dealt with shit like that. And it's not easy to fucking deal with. And when you're forced to live in some way where like you had to see that the world is not how it gets portrayed. Shit is fucked up and you better figure out how to deal with it because it's not going to change for you. For me, I got that lesson kind of young because I'm Jewish and because my grandfather survived the Holocaust. So it's like you have to look at a world where like, yeah, if people, and not for nothing, enough people have met me being Jewish and then suddenly their demeanor about me changes. But it's definitely one of these things where you have to look at the world in a different way. And not everybody looks at the world that way. Again, not everybody has genocide in their history. And that's one of the things about Juggalos. Like, Juggalos... Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Violent J was best quoted. It wasn't a Howard Stern interview. I don't think. I could be wrong. But, like, Jay was talking about... you know, I guess the person asked him, you know, like, what are juggalos and stuff, and like, you know, what makes you do the rap you do and stuff, and he was talking about, you know, like, ICP, you know, like, give us your outcasts, give us your fucking, you know, people that you don't want or whatever, you know, when you speak for those people, and so whenever I, like, for instance, at the gathering, come across, like, somebody that's been through, like, wild shit more than I have, or you compare a story like, damn, this dude's been through as much trauma as I have, because I consider I've been through a lot myself, and it doesn't surprise me when you run into these wild stories from other family. It's we're the outcasts of society, you know, like they really did find all of us for sure.
And you want to know what? Not all of us yet. And here's the funny thing about it. Number one, I think that's one of the positive things about Chapter 17 is the fact that they're helping younger people find it in general. Because my thing is, and this is I actually thought was funny. I read an article where they're calling Gen Z juggalos. They're calling them Zuggalos. And it's like, no, you stop that. Zug Island, you motherfuckers. Yeah, but this is my thing. At the gathering, I'm seeing fucking 19 and 20-year-old kids with their faces painted like ICP. And the fact of the matter is, 19, 20 years old, yeah, sure, it's going to be fun, whatever, but maybe maybe they are doing it for an experience. Who's to say? But when you see people that are, my point, I guess, is that people are still finding the culture brand new now and then fucking feeling it for real.
How fresh was it for you to put face paint on as a fucking 15-year-old or 16-year-old at a show, dog?
I mean, listen, man,
at a show, the fucking magic begins there, dude. I personally don't do it because I don't want to.
To me, the magic began at the Fago, but I do agree that painting your face is something that there is something about it where it just feels like, you know, like, so we're about to get into some shit. Which, by the way, I remember there was a dude when I was living in Denver going to the Art Institute. There was a dude, I think his name was Carl. I swear on everything I love, I watched this man pick up chicks with his face painted on a fucking Tuesday because he fucking felt like it for no reason. And he got this girl's number, I swear on my life. And you don't see that as often anymore. People don't just paint up for the fuck of it. You know what I mean? But that could definitely be a fucking TikTok challenge. Let me tell you, I would be shot. You know what I'm saying?
I got a homie named Loki. I'm pretty sure that ninja paints his face. Quite like casually.
Right.
I was going to say, I know a lot of females that be doing it a lot lately too.
Oh, well, no, and by the way, I think that for chicks, it's a totally different. And by the way, I love the fucking rise in clown girl shit. What, are you kidding me?
Shut up.
Oh my God.
The Clissy is on the rise.
All of them. Every single fucking one. I love you. Like, listen, again, for me, man, having been doing this shit for so long, and for having it happen the way that it has. Because let me tell you something. The only reason that I ended up doing it this way or having it happen this way is because I was part of the culture. I wasn't just a dude who made music around Juggalos. Juggalos happened to like it, and then I happened to get set up with some shit. You know what I'm saying? I was just a Juggalo that was trying to make music, and then I ran into... So you want to know what? You had said, because I don't do this very often. It feels self-absorbed, but you were saying that you want to kind of go into my story of how I became MADD MAXXX, right?
Yeah. Let's kind of get into that. Like, for those that don't know you or whatever, like, how did you get the name that you?
All right. Well, so the way it started was I went by Darkness, which was capital D, lowercase AR, capital KN, lowercase ES, capital S. I had it airbrushed on a shirt. Might be a picture of that somewhere. But I was doing songs as that. And the year before I actually started making songs, I had run into Low Key and all of the what would become the Mission Infect camp, but it wasn't Mission Infect yet. It was, if anything, Seventh Seal Entertainment, which that was what it was when I first became a part of it. But so I actually talk about this on the song Walk of Shame from Chemical Threats. I think 3, maybe 4. But I was just chilling in the Diamond Rain district, which was up at the front, one of the campground areas near the main stage. And fucking, I just look over for a second out of nowhere, and I see this dude jack the fuck out. Not like big, tall, like heavy jack, but just jacked out. Rear his head back and headbutt this motherfucker in his skull so hard that the dude fell back. He might have fallen onto the ground. I can't remember. But then he got up and his head was bleeding. And then this man, who is the green villain, grabbed him and licked the blood off of his head.
Nice.
So this was at the Gathering in 2004. And so I didn't hang with them really at that gathering. We had seen each other a couple of times, but they were doing their thing. I had my friends. We didn't really know each other. But as time goes by, find each other on the internet. And do you remember, people probably still do shit like this nowadays, but where like you write somebody's screen name on a piece of paper and take a picture with it, fan sign?
Like fan sign, bro. I haven't seen that. Like really, the only time I really see that is when like nerdy cuck dudes will like do that shit for a chick on the internet. They'll pay like $50 for her to do that. That's
so
how it is
fucking
now.
funny.
You pay for that shit.
Oh no, truly. And you want to know what? So that's the funny fucking thing, because in the early days of the internet,
bro, I got a fan
this was
sign
a thing.
You remember Mr. Shoe Nice? You remember Shoe Nice? The dude that would just like fucking eat and drink everything. Like he could chug like a bottle of vodka and he could chug like all this wild shit. Do you remember him at all?
No, I don't think I know who that is.
I had a fan sign made from him because he made a post one day and he chugged this like, it was like a bottle of fucking Listerine and then he chugged a bottle of fucking like Tito's vodka right after each other. And then he was like,
no, thank you.
The funniest joke, and if you make me laugh, I'll give you a fan sign. And I told
That's
him like,
too funny.
And then I told him like, what's the difference between, like what does my garage, it's the dead baby joke about having the Lamborghini and the pile of dead babies.
Oh, right.
And,
okay.
And he was like, oh, you're a sick fuck for that. And then like, he took a picture with my name on a piece of paper. So,
no, that's funny. But so the only reason that was relevant, I was doing that a little bit with a friend of mine for basically chicks that we knew. And fucking, this was also back in the days of forums, because, Facebook and MySpace, well, it was really MySpace first, then Facebook, but that didn't even exist yet. So there was the horrorcore forums where that's a whole different thing. But through these, like the Gathering forums and all this shit, that was the way that, again, I was communicating with other juggalos, hanging with people. We do little mini gatherings here and there. And so, first of all, the fan sign thing is how I ended up starting to talk to Low Key. After the Gathering, we were talking on the internet, and he was like, could you make one for Temple Rain? Because that was the original group of Low Key, Sleepy, and Green, who he was the Reverend Apparition at the time. And so that was how we started talking. And then when I was home from school in Colorado, I went to a school in Durango for high school, the second 2 years. Well, second junior year and then senior year. But in any case, fucking would come home on break and then travel down to Pennsylvania and make songs with them and hang with them. And fucking, there were some wild boys, like wild Bucks County, Pennsylvania biker fucking, they weren't bikers, but their parents were. And they were fucking, the shit went hard.
Yeah, just about.
And oh yeah, no, for sure. Like I remember again, Green driving me home, running red lights, chewing on the steering wheel, fucking. What the? It's fucking.
Oh, we have a ticker that runs, bro. You probably like,
I was about to say, I said no. That totally fucking threw me off for a second.
Yeah, sorry, dude. Like we have.
Oh,
we
that's
have
so fucking funny.
on the screen, yeah. Yeah.
No, that's sorry not for nothing. I thought it was like. I thought maybe it was like you somehow get that in the chat, but no. So that was how we started making songs. But so the way that this all transpired was, again, I was on these gathering boards, because when you're going to go to the gathering, you want to connect with people that are going to be there, so you can hang out when you get there. And fucking through, communicating with all these different people, after I graduated high school and I was having my birthday, my parents were letting me have a hotel party in New Jersey. And yeah, oh no, it was, listen, looking back.
Did you do it by your, did you just do it? Or
oh, fuck yeah. Oh no, they just set up the hotels and we were fucking, again, I had just graduated high school. They were look, again, I think that it is very progressive. We'll call it that. In any case, yeah, no, because it was debauched, to say the absolute least. But so before this fucking, and this must have been right after I came home from school, but. So I record these songs with Low Key, first of which being Come and Get Me, which that was a beat that I just found on LimeWire. And fucking, there was a time where the early internet radio, Hatchet Radio is what it was called. I don't remember if it was hatchetradio.com, but so the day that Hell's Pit came out, all of the people that I guess, were otherwise not able to hear it, not able to purchase it, because back then you couldn't just hop onto the internet and get whatever the fuck you want.
No, you had to give your computer AIDS to try to find all shit.
And by the way, not even just that, but with ICP, especially then, you had to know somebody that had the fucking hookup to be able to get the link back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was not some shit that was just popping up. But my point here was that they were playing Hell's Pit for the Juggalos that just weren't able to get it. And in between the Hell's Pit tracks, to kind of space it out, this friend, she went by DJ Danny. Her name is Danielle. She was playing songs of people who were basically friends of hers. And I was one of them. Jay apparently heard my song, Violent J, and liked it. And he knew somebody who knew Danny. And he reached out to him and said, hey, does anybody know this guy? And they did. And I remember this part specifically. I was telling you about the hotel party. We went to the first place and they shut us down like immediately. We checked into the rooms. People started funneling in and they like immediately called me and they were like, yeah, no, you're not doing this here. Like, all right, fine, bye. Give us our money back. And so then we wheeled across town to, I believe, the Red Roof Inn. And when we got there, Danny was there. And I just remember walking up and she has this big shit-eating grin. And I'm like, what are you smiling about? And she said, Jay wants to sign you. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? And more or less, I was told the story of what I just said, that he heard it, so forth, so on. And I kind of didn't think much of it until I'm pretty sure we talked on AOL Instant Messenger before he called me. But he for sure called me at my house. And it's funny, I don't remember the actual conversation, but the one thing I remember him asking me very specifically was, are you a Juggalo? And the answer to that remains unequivocally yes. But at the time, as a 19-year-old obviously the immediate answer is yes. But I really, looking back on all that, I did not understand the significance of what was happening. And even if I kind of did, I was too young to be able to approach it properly. Because, like, having been, like I said, I didn't think much of this shit until Jay fucking calls me. And then I'm like, I'm talking to Violent J in my backyard. What the fuck is going on right now? I don't even know how to process this. And then you actually start getting emails from people and then you get a plane ticket, and then it's like, oh, I'm fucking actually doing this. And I remember this guy, Tom Lundberg, picked me up from the airport. Real nice guy, but he was the executive assistant to Psychopathic. I don't know exactly what that means, but he was a pretty just middle of the road guy, but he had a Hatchet Man charm on and real personable on the way there. And then I remember I get there and fucking they must have been either in the middle of meetings or doing whatever they were doing. And so I was hanging out in the front for a bit, smoking Black and Milds because that's what I did back then. And fucking
Black and Milds.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm from New Jersey. What can I fucking tell you?
Bro, I smoke those because I can't afford cigarettes.
Hey, you want to know what? I used to smoke Black and Milds because I was trying to quit cigarettes. So I was like, well, I'll just smoke Black and Milds. Yeah, it doesn't fucking work that way. But no, the one thing I remember about that experience sitting on the step was one of the dudes who I recognized as a Zug Island roadie fucking walked out of the Psychopathic office carrying a big box of Zug Island merch for $333. And I was still not in the know of anything. You know what I mean? I'm just a fucking juggalo out here on the periphery, like, hey, what's going on, guys? And then come to have a conversation with Jay later where he's like, hey, don't talk about this. And obviously, spoiler alert, this is many years ago. At the time, he was like, don't talk about this really, but Axe and Smash and UMZ, which that's MC Breed and Zug Island, are done. That fucking did not work out. There was no traction. And that was also why they opened up the labels satellite to Psychopathic so that their business didn't actually get caught up in specific Psychopathic, like, excuse me, fucking business. I guess that's the better word. And so that, like, dude, let me tell you something. Violent J is a person where I don't know if he still talks as much as he used to, but he's one of the only people that I've ever met that talks more than me. And he has a lot to fucking say that is really, if you're trying to be in the business of music, incredibly, like, I think about this, that he said this in 2004, where he was telling me about how, in the, they talk about it in Behind the Paint, where they would, go to all these different record stores and try to, get them to stock the albums. And so one thing he told me was there was something you could buy back then that was a directory of every record store on the fucking market. Like everyone that had an address that was getting albums from these labels and whatever, you could get their information. And so they would get it every year to, do what they were doing. And it was thick, you know what I'm saying? Like up there like that. And again, this is in 2004. He says to me, we bought it this year just kind of for fun, just to see what it looked like. And it was like this thin. It was a pamphlet. And so even in 2004, Jay has the fucking foresight to know that this CD record, all this shit ain't sticking around. So you better find a way to survive in the new landscape, which, by the way, is something ICP has always been good at. Like, they were one of the first bands to be online, which is one of the reasons why Juggalos were able to spread the way that they have. Like, some of the first GeoCities AOL websites I ever saw were Juggalo shit.
Oh, no shit?
Oh, for sure. Oh, absolutely. Like
I never did those. I was the part of the MySpace kids.
No, listen, bro. MySpace is what helped me branch out, because what happened, I go out to the experience with Psychopathic happens, and there's a lot that I can talk about that, but it's not like there were the couple of significant things, I guess, at the least, were fucking, he technically produced the track as Dr. Punch, which I thought was kind of funny, where like ABK was there and fucking Jay's talking about, oh yeah, Dr. Punch said he was going to be throwing a little bit, so I'm gonna head out of here. I'm gonna see you guys in a little while. And so he leaves, and then I just kind of look at ABK. I was like, hey, who's Dr. Punch? He's like, oh no, that's just him. He'll be back in a minute. And then he comes back in wearing a different jersey, and then He's like, hey, what's up? I'm Dr. Punch. And then he fucking starts getting to it and mixing the track where like it was just this beat that I found on LimeWire, and then he had Fritz the Cat remake it. And fucking it was cool. I'm trying to remember because there was, if I recall correctly, the version that we bounced had the whole beat reversed. But then after that, I'm pretty sure that the version that I got sent had just the beginning reversed, and then the rest of the beat was basically normal. Where they definitely did do some work to it, and I really appreciated the fact that like Jay really did take time. It was at least a good couple hours, and honestly, I'm trying to remember. No, they must have left because there's no way I would have fucking left. But fucking he really took some time. And I remember him saying this. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. And I didn't even remember that he said this shit until like a year or so ago, where I was trying to write this book, which maybe I'll get back to at some point. And I was remembering that because I don't think about that shit a lot, because I don't talk about this story very often. Like I occasionally, like I've brought it, I've talked about it before, but I don't like to ride this shit hard because I don't like it. I don't want it to be my defining characteristic. It just happens to be something that was very significant in my life. And I remember at whatever time, like as he's working on it, like, changing things and, doing little drops and really fucking with everything. And he said something along the lines of like the carnival spirits are here with me, something like that. And it's crazy to me where we have never had a conversation since that day. I have never fucking spoken to him. I have never met him again. At the Three-Headed Monster tour, him and Isham walked by me with food from what I assume they got around the corner. And I'm not about to be like, hey guys, when they're walking to the fucking bus with food in their hand. Yeah, but sure. And here's the thing. I don't fucking have a problem with that. I do hope that I get to have another conversation with him at some point. I'd like to show him my fucking pictures of my kids and be like, hey, you kind of helped me do this, so thank you. But I'm just for real about this shit, man. Like being a juggalo is not something that I do because I don't have enough of an identity to live my life any other way. It's not something that I do because I need friends so desperately that I need to involve myself in this thing that I don't really feel. Like I could show you on my phone, my Spotify Wrapped was ICP number 1 and then lo-fi. That's it. 4 different lo-fi people from the playlist that I listen to. Rifty Beats and Game Chops and fucking whoever else. And ICP. And that's not all that I listen to. I listen to fucking League Brothers pretty often. That's Cage and Tame 1 song, album about me smoking PCP. It's real good.
Oh shit.
Oh no, it's so good, bro.
This has no relevancy, but what is your opinions on King Gordy?
Well, King Gordy has a place in the culture because of how long he's been doing this shit, and because of he can rap, whether you like it or not, and fucking he has worked deeply enough with pretty much everybody that it's hard to deny that he's out there. But I don't happen to be a fan personally. Okay,
it was unimportant. I just wondered.
No, fair enough. Say again.
I recently became a big fan of Gordy here. Recently.
Oh no, true indeed. You want to know what? It's a funny thing. What King Gordy was doing for a while with the Anakin shit. It was like, I don't know if are you familiar with Sutter Kane?
No. See, I've been aware of Gordy for a long time, but just never really gave that dude a deep dive. And I recently did, and
he got a lot of crazy shit.
Bro, that guy's probably said the most craziest shit on an album.
That's what I'm saying. Like where the fuck, raping Justin Bieber and like.
Bro, the whole Vader shit is fucking ridiculous.
Exactly, the Anakin shit. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Like he went hard. And by the way, I know a lot of people that swear by Gordy, and I think that again, he's dope. he's dope, but I personally just don't happen to get down with his shit. It never like hit for me that way. And oh shit, Just Jekyll in the fucking chat.
Of course.
That's the fuck bro. That's the fucking homie right there. Like on some shit. Like I'll fight in the street for that girl. Real shit.
I want a Just Jekyll Thuggalo show shirt.
Right.
Oh no, listen, bro. I'm sure
that chick makes badass merch, dude.
Oh no, facts, bro. I'm sure we could fucking make something happen. There's no reason why that couldn't go down. But no, so fuck. Oh no,
real
big
quick though. We
go ahead.
hit the 1 hour mark, and what we would like to do is actually play the merry-go-round as bro.
Yeah, as a commercial.
Okay.
If you would,
Nah, go right ahead, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah, bro.
All right, well, let's cue it up.
Here,
everybody enjoy. This is why
reload
we
the weed
on the show.
Yeah, no, because on some real shit, I got to tell you, this video, like I said, we recorded this at the fucking Worcester Palladium, very, very specifically.
Yeah, right.
Like the Worcester Palladium is somewhere that means a lot to Juggalo culture. Like if you watch the American Psychos video, they talk about it. Excuse me. And for me personally, like I said, this Juggalo shit is super real to me. Like you didn't know it, but the words rapping on the video are to the courthouse that is right across the street from the Worcester Palladium. And it is in that courthouse where a lot of people, basically one of the reasons why Juggalos were considered a gang and got put on that list is because of not just Worcester. There's a lot of places like this. Chicago is another one of them. Phoenix was for a while. But where Juggalos were getting down fucking for real. And those doors are where a lot of Juggalos have fucking been sentenced to a lot of time as Juggalos. Right. And again, like in my case, it was a long time ago and everything was fucking dismissed. But when I went in for a very brief period, they saw my hand and they decided to put on the record that I am a member of the Juggalo gang.
Right.
And fucking so I'm on record in Massachusetts as a Juggalo gang member.
Hell,
you know what I'm saying?
Dude. Welcome, brother.
And it does.
Right.
It does. Well, no, but here's the thing. It hasn't fucking affected me. It hasn't done anything or changed anything. So that's helpful. But the point though is just that like when you're watching this video, understand that this shit is very real to me. So if you feel Juggalo shit for real, I'm not saying anybody's gotta like my music. Anytime somebody is a fan, I fucking appreciate it. And I'm surprised, frankly. But if it comes to Juggalo shit, at the very least, whether you like it or you don't like it, just know that this shit is real to me.
Hell yeah.
Word. Run that bitch, huh? Run that bitch.
Let it be known I gave my life to this music. You couldn't fucking comprehend how much I've sacrificed to it. Sitting in silence like a druid, sacrament producing pineal fluid. With both darkness and light I am congruent. Every line that I compose within my mind I imbue it with the fires alive inside me. It's a primal communion, which would explain the kind of viewers I got tuned in. The kind of shit that you find terrifying, we probably find amusing. What kind of drugs you've been abusing to have you so disillusioned is to think if you challenge a match you are a loser. I'm a freight train barreling down the tracks. Translation, if you're in my way I won't stop just cause you are removing. There ain't a Juggalo alive not on the hat. You're rapping like me, somebody challenge that. It won't be hard to prove it. Fuck a clout chase, I don't care who you're cool with. I lay vocals in a lotus pie before most of you children even started whooping. You think this shit's a game, MADD, motherfucker, where'd I get that name? I respect why I ain't get that chain, but all this hound dogging and shit, I'm like when the Juggalos get that lame. It goes round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round. Then the merry-go-round broke down. Shit I've had to go through as a Juggalo rapper, bro, you wouldn't fucking believe me if I told you. So I take all my indignation for these situations and I feed them the studio on the Pro Tools. The fuck else am I gonna do? Nobody cares, yeah, they'll comment on the flyer, then the show happens with nobody there. I see legends on the stage floor, mostly is bare. Nobody head bopping a mosh and they just openly stare. All these newcomers around that are just stoked to be there. Look, I ain't saying you should quit, I just hope you're prepared. They'll have you on stage to perform soon as they open the door. You pay to play, go straight to the artist you're opening for. Cat that's just so elated to share the stage with, they won't watch you play or even learn your name, cause they think that you ain't shit. You think they give a fuck which album is your favorite if they have it their way once they get paid to leave with the chick that you came with? This ain't a game for the weak. A lot of wolves in wool hats making prey of the sheep. Dreaming of fame is only useful if you're staying asleep. Been doing this for 20 fucking years, take it from me. It goes round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round. Then the merry-go-round broke down. I'll say it till my face is purple. The merry-go-round broke down and now we're all pacing in circles. Don't think I know how it goes down, bro. People with kids whose life revolve around the gathering and clown shows, but never can be found at underground shows. Well, you don't get clout tokens for being seen hanging around those, so why would you bother, you fucking vultures? Knives out, beats bloody, pecking the carcass of the cultures. This shit's so real to me, you can't imagine so much that's happened, only cause I'm a juggalo rapping. Where you think my children came from? How you think I wound up in Massachusetts? Juggalo rap is all my ass has been doing since after the gathering back in 2004. Done 100 underground shows and I would do 1,000 more. You think I'm fucking playing, bro? I'm just a juggalo, that's all this boils down to. Bury me in my face paint in my clown shoes. I will not be denied in the face of carnival magic. I have honestly cried. All I'm saying is if my ex-wife tells you she ain't divorced because I'm a juggalo rapper, then I promise she lied. It goes round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round. Then the merry-go-round broke down. That's funny.
Oh, Sando kills shit, bro. Like legit, right? Just fucking telling him this is what I want to do. This is where we're gonna do it. We legit only shot for like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at most. And fucking, he is a master of his craft. But no, so like, it's actually funny that black jersey with the Hell's Pit hand on it. Mm-hmm. So right. That jersey, and this is funny to me, I guess, but when I got flown out to Psychopathic, one of the things that Jay let me do was let me walk through the warehouse and just take merch. Like, if you want shit, just go ahead and take it. Oh, that's and unfortunately, a lot of the shirts that I wanted, they didn't have the right size. Like, back when I could still fit a medium shirt, I had this purple Malenko. You remember the purple Malenko with the purple shirt, green face? And I had that in a medium, and I could rock that for the longest, but then I got too fat, now I can't. But fucking, but he grabbed that jersey and he gave it to me. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I like it now. But back then, I would never have, like, if I could buy a jersey, it wouldn't have been that one. Because it would have been like, no, give me the full Wraith. I don't want just the hand. But at this point, again, for me, here's the best part about it. That I had it for the longest time. I used to wear it all the time. And I remember going down to Low Key's house whenever I did, and I left it there. And there he had he took some pictures in it. Like, he had it for a long time. And then literally within the last, I'm trying to think when I shot this video, like maybe a few months before that, he had been telling me for a long time that he had it, and he finally got it back to me. So the fact that I was able to have that jersey in that video, like, it wasn't, I had planned on doing that song from a long time. Because Kaleidoscope took me overall, technically, between 3 and 5 years. It depends on how you look at it.
Which Kaleidoscope is your latest release, correct?
Yes, that's the latest release. So just real quick, I can feed you into the first albums, because my discography is actually, I have a decent amount out there, but it's fairly short, which is Came Back. And again, the thing with ICP just fizzled out. Nothing happened there. And again, it was all love. I played The Gathering in 2008, played again in fucking 2022, which the set in 2022, getting a night slot like that was fucking, that was heavy. Just because in all the years that I used to gather, night slots did not go to fucking scrub acts at all. Like night second stage spots were always like for Mad Child plays. It's where fucking Tila Tequila famously got fucking shit thrown in her face. And the year before I played, I had the same slot as Shaggy the Airhead. So, who is, by the way, like such a gift to Juggalo culture. Like, do you have any idea how lucky y'all are that you can buy some shit from him and then go out into literally any setting and have people be like, bro, that shit is so dope. Everywhere I go, either my job, with family, with friends, out in public, just random walking around, every fucking buddy loves lazy and crazy gear, bro. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, bro.
It's high fashion on easy mode.
It's Gucci for juggalos, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Factual.
everybody fucking
Big
loves
facts.
it when they see it.
Oh my lord, big facts. But okay, so no, I'm sorry. Please go right ahead.
No, real quick, while we're talking about shirts and stuff, I wanted to ask you about the shirt you're wearing right now.
Oh,
is it a Final Fantasy shirt or is it?
It's okay. So it's a Mishka Final Fantasy shirt. Where it's actually really funny how I got down on Mishka, because Mishka is New York City shit, and I found Mishka because Twisted was wearing a lot of Mishka hats, or Paul was anyway, and find them, start buying their shit, and then I go on their website one day, and then I find they have a section for musicians, for people that they fuck with, and I see these guys called Ch.2, and the one dude's got dreads. They both had, I think, contacts in that video.
Right.
And fucking, it was Alice Cooper lettuce. And so I listened to that, and I was like, okay, so first of all, this is fire, but is that a fucking Esham shirt? Because you can't just wear an Esham shirt in your video and not have every Juggalo's fucking ears perk up like, wait a minute.
Right.
I know what this means. And then it was confirmed when they eventually did Dead York, and they did, I think Rumors was the name of the song. It was the one where Les Legs, the homie Alex Perkins, was in the video. But fucking in that video, he was wearing a House of Crazies bandana. And at that point, it's like, nah, you ain't fucking, you can't fool me, motherfucker. I know exactly what that means. And that was a funny thing, though, because I feel like Ouija is, and I don't know if this was the case for him, but he was originally from Vegas, and then he also lived in the New York, New Jersey area, somewhat similar to where I was. But we never really crossed paths. We knew some similar people, but we never crossed paths until a show that we ended up doing together. But my point, I guess, is that I don't know that Ouija ever openly claimed that he was a Juggalo in what he was doing. Because people might not remember this, but it's actually funny. In the opening of the show, seeing Free Will, big fucking shout out to those guys.
That's the homies.
I'd love to work with them at some point. I hope eventually we can make it happen. But these guys have been doing it for real for a long time. Have you guys ever seen the Nose Candy video?
Yeah.
Bro, that shit, when that first came out, I was like, this is the most gangster shit I have ever seen. Like,
for sure. Like
that shit was so dope. And fucking, like, again, we haven't worked together, but anytime I ever see them, they show me a lot of love. Like, they're familiar with who I am. They know that I've been out here doing this a really long time. And they were part of this same kind of lyrical, like, fraternity that existed in New York City. Like, Ch.2 was part of it. Free Will was part of it. Sean Strange was part of it. To a higher extent, Ill Bill and Necro, they were like the really successful guys that were part of it. Nems was back then not as popular, but now he's super famous. Like
Ill Bill, like a show with our homies Clockwork E, and the next.
Oh no, I seen that. Ill Bill is going on tour with the.
Fucking go to that shit, and I can't.
I'm pretty sure he's playing in Massachusetts somewhere like far away, or I can't remember exactly where. But I got to see him in Boston like the night before my daughter was born. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think that my point in bringing that up was that Ch.2 was part of that like lyrical fraternity, Ouija obviously being part of Ch.2, and I will say the most recent on Three-Headed Monster, I heard the shit that he was doing, and I'm just like, fuck, man, why don't you just rap like that all the time? Like, just do that. That like Kicking the Bass is for sure one of the best songs he's ever done, and his guest verses on that album are fire, like super super fire. And I just because anytime that I've listened to his, his music, his more affluent songs, I don't tend to find that same lyricism that he had then, and that, like I said, on fucking Three-Headed Monster recently, I felt like he was really flexing his chops on that, and fucking, I wish that more of that would happen because he is a good rapper. Again, I will still stand on the fact that I think that Darby is better. I will stand on that.
What's
but
that?
He is good.
Not Darby. Ouija had a fucking what was the fucking alias that he was running to? He has a boom bap album. It's
really? You want to know what? I did not only I did.
What was his name for that? Because it wasn't Ouija Mac. He had another.
Maybe somebody in the chat's gonna know. But no, and you want to know what? One thing I will say about Ouija Mac is also that this is one of the ways that because we haven't really interacted that many times. I remember the most recent time where I actually seen him. It was a show in New Hampshire several years ago that Fury was throwing. I think it might have been Lethal Weekend. And Ouija seen me and he kind of pointed at me like, I know you. And it was cool. Like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And so before then,
Lev Ginsberg. That's what it was. Thank you.
But he was somebody who I remember at the show that I played with them in Brooklyn, where Danny Diablo was there, and it's a super cool place. I saw a stripper do one of the craziest things on a pole I've ever seen in my life. It was a pretty great experience.
Well, what did she do, by the way? No,
it was like she was way high up, and she like the way that she swung her body down and then up and then whew, right down to the bottom of the pole and then stopped herself. And I've seen a lot of girls do that move where they do it and it's not graceful. She stopped on a fucking pin. It was delightful. But so in any case, I was out in front of there.
You remember the viral video of the chick
of that girl falling and busting her fucking face and then immediately dancing after? Oh, bro. Yo, she raised a ton of money to get her face fixed after she did that.
Oh, did it fuck her up?
Oh, what are you? Excuse me? Did it fuck her up?
Bro, her ass shake's fine, bro. Her brain might have been broke,
she fell on her face. Her face hit first. That's why she was able to go face down, ass up so fast, because her face was already down there. That shit was bad. But so, okay, now I'm trying to remember what I was saying before that.
Oh, sorry, Doc.
Oh, wait, no, I got it. I brought it back. I'm getting better about that. My ADHD used to fuck with me like that. But so at this show, I seen, and because Scum was the one who helped set the show up, there was a dude who actually recently passed. May he rest in peace. He went by Spazavelli. That's a whole conversation there. But in any case, I believe he was the one who booked me on that show. And case in point, meeting, Ch.2 for the first time. Number one, on stage, they were very good. But Scum was there because he was part of the Scum's tour that Ch.2 was playing the show. And I think it was Scum and Lex. I can't remember. But in any case, Ch.2 is, this was either before or after they performed, but Ouija is outside talking to Scum, and he was talking about, I want to get you on a track. And I've heard that shit so many times over the years of like, oh, hey, let's do a track. Then it was just kind of like, all right, whatever. But then they put out Dead York, and there was a track with Scum and Blaze on it. And I was like, I really appreciate that shit. Because, again, this is one of the reasons why I fuck with Ouija, whether I like his music or not. He goes hard for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty clear that he does things in a way where he's, and I try to explain this to people, where you ain't got to love Ouija Mac's music, but recognize that with him talking Juggalo all over everything that he does, if you Google Juggalo, Ouija's not going to be the first thing that comes up. As a matter of fact, he might not be the 10th thing that comes up. So at that point, it's bringing people into the culture that otherwise might not have found it. And not everybody's going to stay. That's never been really the way that it works. But it's going to bring in a lot of people that otherwise would not have found it. And like I said, or no, like you said, sir, it's bringing a lot of people back. You know what I mean? And I haven't had that experience, but a lot of people have. And that's one of the reasons, again, that's why regardless of how I feel about the music, and I will also point out, I don't think that Ouija Mac makes bad music. I just don't happen to listen to it. But with that said, I personally, this is why I think everything that I've heard from Darby thus far has been really, really lyrical. But my thing is, I'm weird about rappers that, whether or not they consider me a contemporary, that I consider my contemporaries. And because to say that I am their contemporary in my own eyes is one thing. Whether or not they recognize me that way, that's a different conversation. But I'm weird about listening to the music of people that I either could potentially work with or have worked with already. And again, though, with that said, I've watched every video that he's put out thus far. I've seen, and I've liked what he's done, and the fact that Juggalos are gravitating towards it, I appreciate that, just because it shows there are Juggalos at the helm of the ship, so to speak, and I appreciate that. So
I think fucking kind of saying in the chat, Ouija's also bringing. For me, it's kind of hit or miss. Some of the people that Ouija's been like, hey, here's the Juggalo.
Look, don't get me wrong. I'm trying to be A, diplomatic, and B, I always try to be as friendly as possible.
Right,
but
for sure.
With that said, listen, don't get me wrong, man. I was there for the family era. I was there for the fucking, what a lot of people would call the magic, for a lot of that shit. And
era of Lotus.
Well, not even necessarily just the era of Lotus, but the era before the 6th. It was a totally different experience. It felt different. It felt much more ethereal and supernatural than it does now. Which, by the way, which is not to say that it does not still feel ethereal and supernatural. But it was, to explain the feeling that I felt where at the Hatchet Rising tour in 2001, it was either a few months before, or it was probably before 9/11, where she Blaze and ABK performed. It was just in front of the curtains. It was kind of lackluster, but it was good. Then you have Twisted perform, again at the peak of of the family era, and fucking suddenly they're doing Spin the Bottle, and Shaggy is moonwalking out onto the stage in a red mullet wig. And then they do Spin the Bottle, and now suddenly I'm getting hit with Fago, and there was never even a fucking set change. And fucking that happens. They end with Pass Me By, as they often did back then, which obviously is a massive experience if you've been in the crowd for it and this shit is real to you. That's a heavy moment. Oh, big fact. But so that happens, and then the floor lights come on, and it's just misty and fucking. They had just shown the silhouette of the Wraith for the first time, and I remember distinctly walking around having this fucking feeling in my head of are we all about to die? What the fuck is going on here? And then I'm pretty sure they started with Swarm, which just that's a hell of a fucking. I don't know if you guys, I imagine you guys have seen Lotus live. I don't know if you ever saw that. I would imagine you probably have seen that song live. Oh, you never did. Fuck, man, that's rough.
I've seen it once. So my Lotus story is actually a good one too, because I wasn't supposed to see them.
No shit.
It was one of the Columbus shows that they were all there together. Mushroom Head was supposed to open up, but they didn't show, so instead they did a Lotus set instead.
Oh, shit!
It was one of those jits, yeah. So,
dog, that's not for nothing. That's a good only Lotus set to see.
Right, right. It was an improv one. They were wearing.
Fuck yeah, dude!
They were robed out, face painted.
Fuck yeah, dude. Oh man, I never got to see him like that. I only got to see him as in Black Rain, and then I saw them at the Gathering a few times where it was like Lotus Pod era, but
right.
You know, it was just, you know, the masks with the white thing. Bro, at the Hatchet Rising show, you remember the white cross masks with the white things that came off the top of the hair? So at the end of the fucking show, Jay is doing, you know, screaming, Lotus, over and over again. And then finally, on the last time he does it, he pulls off his mask with no face paint on, which back then was a fucking mind blow.
Right.
And throws the thing into the crowd. I got a piece of the hair, but I didn't get the whole thing. And then I watched two ninjas go fucking end over end for it. I don't think they actually fought. I think one got it. I don't know. But that was just, I remember that era being just like when you would see Lotus, it was just fucking, like there was a time where you weren't official unless you had a Dark Lotus wrist tattoo. You know what I mean? Like that was, you had to have that shit if you were part of the crew.
The Lotus cross.
I need to get some Lotus shit at some point. I just don't want nobody religious being like, are you kidding me? I already got people coming up to me about this one like, oh, were you in the program? Like, no, I'm not. Absolutely not. But no, and by the way, I made a terrible tangent, but fucking, I came back from Michigan. The shit didn't work out. I started working with Low Key Moore. That was how In the Absence of Sanity got made. And on some real shit, my father helped me get that first album made. He paid for me to record it, and he also paid for me to get it pressed. And that was a funny situation where we paid to get it made quickly and didn't pay enough attention to what we were getting. And they were jewel cases instead of like the thicker fucking, you know, like kind of, it would be like a CD single nowadays where it's like a thin case, not a full case.
Right.
So we had 1,000 of those, but then on the actual CD, you could see my name, MADD was printed on like, you know, the inner part of the CD where like there's the outer part where the shiny shit is. And then the inner part, on the inner part, it had fucking MADD. You want to know what? I have one here. Let me see if fucking, what is it? Yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't know if you can actually see it. That's the only copy that I have. It's funny because I wouldn't say that 1,000 copies were sold. I would say that 1,000 copies were made, and I distributed as many of them as I can. I did sell a good few of them, but they're like collector's items at this point. And then after that, most of the music that I made was basically mixtape shit, to be completely honest, until I met, like, Sick Hop was very much a mixtape. What am I thinking here? What came direct? After Sick Hop, I was working for a while with some people, and then I actually didn't release anything for a while. And then trying to remember, I don't think Sex and Violence was the next one, but Sex and Violence was also very much a mixtape. And Where the Wild Things Are, though, that was the first time that I made, like, first of all, the beats I won in a contest from fucking, I think it was, Tristan on the Track was the producer, but I think that it was Cryptic Wisdom's website had like some contest where you could fucking drop verses on these people's opens. Like they have their song and you put a verse on it. And I did a bunch of those and then won. And those are actually dope. I need to find those. And
Cryptic Wisdom, I actually love that motherfucker. Like,
my thing is lyrically, again, he's one of those guys where you can't take it from him. The dude can rap for sure. But
yeah.
I have heard some not awesome things about him as a person. So because I don't happen to listen to his music already, I'm probably not going to go looking for it. And again, you don't know what, not for nothing. I'm sure people have, not great things to say about me. I just know who I actually am. And a lot of the things that I've heard about him have been from people that I respect. So it's, and again, my thing is we've never met. We've really not even communicated that much. I just remember that I think it was called Alien Nation or something like that.
Oh, yeah. From back then, yeah.
And so I won that contest, got the beats from Tristan, paid him for a few more. and then got a couple beats from some other people. And then I recorded that album at Block McCloud's Padded Room Studios in Worcester. And well, I started recording it there, and then I finished it at Deep Blue, where Block, I think the studio just closed. And then I go in to record with this guy, and he's super cool, real professional. But I remember I'm playing his Xbox while he's mixing my shit. And I was playing Arkham because I just fucking love those games, and he happened to have them. And it's just like you play the fucking challenge mode. It's like real flowy. I enjoy that shit. And so we get to talking about video games, and middle, I had just gotten an Xbox One that I didn't actually need because it came free with this TV that I bought. And it was like, all right, so listen, how about I give you this Xbox? Because he said that he wanted to get a new one, but it was never a priority. So I was like, all right, let me give you this, and you fucking, can give me a little bit of a deal on this. And then, we'll get the work done. And so we did. And then years later, I seen him again, and he was like, bro, to this day, that was still one of the best sessions that I've ever done because I still have that Xbox and I still fucking love having it. So I need to get back in touch with him. He was working with Joyner Lucas at the beginning, but then they stopped working with each other. And fucking Joyner Lucas is an interesting thing too, because he's from Worcester, but now he's looked at as a Boston rapper. It's funny how that worked out. Anyway, so since I'm sure I'll just circle it back from wherever I was, but going up to Kaleidoscope now, Kaleidoscope is also another one of these first albums where all of the beats are like, I either have leases for them or they were given to me from, that's in the case of only a couple of them. And then also the sound is professional. Let me tell you something. Dirtcore, fucking Johnny Crossworm, fucking, that's his, what the fuck is wrong with me? That's his Facebook name. Crossworm is a fucking master at what he does. And the other thing about it is that he gives me the ability to just kind of do shit my way. And I will admit, in some cases, I can work very slowly. I'm trying to work on that in the coming year so I can produce more. You just need to do that. But he was very patient working with me. He helped put together my gathering set in 22, make sure that all sounded good. And I fucking, with 1,000 different notes and shit, which the best part about that set was how I paid several $100s for a projector video that ended up not being able to be used at the last minute because we didn't have the right fucking connecting cord to connect the projector to the fucking computer. So instead we just had to have me subtly torturing my son's mother for the duration of the program, which went over well and not well, but we'll just go into how it went over well, which actually, no, we can go into a little bit of how it went over not well, because a couple of people had told me that they were in the crowd for that set and either they saw somebody cry or they heard somebody talking about that's fucked up. Why would you do that? What if somebody did that to you? And it's like, so willing participant over here. And it also worked out well where at the very end, she just kind of hops off stage because I was choking her with the plastic bag. And then she was like, okay, I think I'm actually choking now. And then she fell off the chair. And fucking from there, immediately I was like, hey, are you all right? And then she got up and she hopped off. And so that right there breaks the kayfabe. She's fine. She's not dead. We're all good here. But that shit was, and again, my thing was, I watched the video. I feel like I probably should have done more cardio leading up, but I think generally speaking, it was pretty good. And this is kind of what I'm saying, that what I'm doing right now is a continuation of what had basically led up to that, because that set absolutely, where again, after all these years, after everything that I have fucking had to deal with, and bro, if I could even, because I really can't go into it, but if I could even explain to you the extent to which I have had to suffer and sacrifice to be a Juggalo rapper, to perform at that gathering and do what I did there. Like I I cannot even explain to you the extent to which, again, I have had to suffer and sacrifice to be able to make that happen. And I'm glad to have done it, but it is definitely, again, I just like to be straight up and down about it. There's not a lot of people that have the words "the gathering of the Juggalos" on legal documents, and I do. Like,
that's dope.
It's fucking well. It's I don't know how dope it is, but it's true. I'll tell you that. But the thing about Kaleidoscope, like I had said at the beginning, that album took me, like, it depends on how you look at it, between 3 and 5 years. 3 years roughly around the time, maybe 3.5, where I had actually come up with the name of the album. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Although I will admit I had wanted to do an album called Kaleidoscope for many, 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 many years ago. But it hadn't been a concerted effort until fucking that point, about 3.5 years ago, from when Kaleidoscope came out. But the first songs that I recorded that ended up on Kaleidoscope, I recorded those. I found out because I was looking at my phone. Excuse me. The first version of Bad Little Goth Bitch, I wrote that in 2018. So, fucking, and that song also, it's one of these funny things where I was adding things to that song up until basically the day that we put it out. Maybe not the day, but like we were tweaking that album right up until the end. And again, for me, having songs that I started 5 years ago and then the merry-go-round broke down, I wrote in January of this year. And so which again, that song to me in so many ways is a culmination of everything that I've had to fucking deal with in being a Juggalo rapper, where a lot of people don't understand where, again, number one, you get a negative connotation with the rest of the scene because people look at you as a Juggalo and, you know, we're not a good punchline depending on what you want to do. But with that said, there's also the Juggalo scene itself is full of like these lower level of the same things that are in the bigger scene where like promoters and shit. Juggalo promoters are some of the jankiest motherfuckers on the planet. And the fact
that's
is,
what we've seen with the case of Ch.2 Dope and that James the Juggernaut died.
Oh, well, no, bro, not for nothing. When I've seen that, the first thing that I was thinking about was Nairo the Madman. You know anything about him?
No, I have no clue who the fuck.
That's actually funny because you're wearing the Scum hat. He had worked with Scum a good amount of times. And to be fair, he definitely was scamming people. He was lying. He was not being for real. But yeah, no, he basically, and he never ended up getting any of my money, but he definitely did scam a bunch of people out of their money for doing shows and doing tours and all kinds of shit. And when I heard about this recent guy, that was what made me think of him, because it's like, it's weird where you think that you can just come into this space that existed before you got there, start scamming people out of money, and then think that nobody's going to fucking pipe up like, hey, I'm not going to deal with this. Especially, and this is one of these funny things where you guys have been down since the 90s, so you should understand this, where like Juggalos for a pretty large part, if they're not actually criminals, they're cool with criminals.
Right.
Bro, I'm so glad that you brought that up. So if next gathering, you know, coming up, I'm going to introduce you to this cat. So my best friend in the whole wide world, his name's Rick.
Okay.
Within the first 24 hours of his first gathering, he said, "Why have you never shown me this before?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Bro, this is like Criminal Con 2021." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" But we just
that's exactly what it is.
We were friends together in high school that reconnected as adults later on in life.
Right.
And he was like, "Why weren't you showing me this shit in high school? You know, like how come?" Like he listened to ICP a couple times. He's very familiar with like he fucks with Twisted really hard at the time.
Right.
When Freak Show came out, he loved that whole album, but he never really listened to the Clowns. And so we met as friends as adults, and I was like, "Hey, you know what you should do this year? You should come to the gathering with me." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." I showed him the whole premise, and he's like, "Bro, this looks wild." We get in the parking lot. Day 2 happens. He's like, "Bro, this is the best thing ever."
Oh, bro, listen, let me tell you something. Not for nothing, and it has happened for me multiple times that I go so hard in the fucking parking lot party. Sometimes I go harder in the parking lot than I actually go on the grounds.
I think we all do that to some extent.
You know what I mean? Because we're all just so excited. That, bro, there is really absolutely something to be said about, and it's, you know, at Legend Valley, it's pretty good because once you come off the highway, you can see the fucking grounds and you can see the parking lot. Garrettsville was kind of rough for that because the parking lot was far away. But like at fucking, I remember at Cave in Rock, for that gathering, because that gathering 2008 didn't go so well for me because I took way too much acid at the very end of it. But
it happens. I do that.
Yeah, it fucking does. It was the first time it ever happened to me like that. But so at the beginning of the gathering where I only took enough acid, I just remember the line of cars, and just as the sun went down and more people start showing up, and it just, because I hadn't seen the gathering for I think 4 years at that point, and I was playing that year, and it was just like, that was also the year that they recorded A Family Underground. My name is in the fucking credits of that. Yes, 2008. Yes, sir. My name is on the credits of that DVD. I don't appear on it. I don't appear on it, but hey, listen, I need I need the credits as much as I can get them. I need to get fucking verified. Stop being broke. But no, so
goddamn royalty, psychopathic.
Oh well, no, not even that. Just the idea of like fucking, you can get verified for having credits. You know what I'm saying? Like you've actually appeared on things that are like a thing. But in any case, that whole experience, it wasn't in the video, but I remember on a Weekly Freakly, there was like, this is one of the coolest things about the gathering. I had this kendo stick that I brought back from Japan, because I went to Japan in high school. And fucking,
I always wanted one myself.
It's I need to go back. It's fucking incredible. But so I had this thing, and I was just walking around the gathering with it because it's the gathering and it's a fucking kendo stick, and you don't need much more of an explanation than that. And this guy walked up to, again, this is why I love Juggalos, because only with Juggalos would some shit like this happen.
Yes, dude,
I just walk up, I'm carrying it, and he just looks at me, looks at the kendo stick, looks at me again, and says, "Hit me with that." And I was like, "Absolutely. Where do you want me to hit you?" He was like, "Right in the fucking head." And I was like, "You know what? Word." And here was the funny thing about it, was I did that, I hit him the one time, and then later on, their videographers came back around. Because they were walking around, and the dude was swinging the camera around, and I was like, "Oh, hey, fucking," I can't remember the dude's name, but I was like, "Yo, come over here." And then I was like, "Hey, yo, cameraman, you want to see some shit?" And then he brought him over here, and then he came around and fucking.
That was you?
Yes.
Bro, you hit him with a fucking stop sign shit.
No. That was not me. That,
I was about to say, bro, that was a long dude.
No. The stop sign was not me. That was, I think Rude Boy was there, and then because here's the funny thing about that. The kendo stick that I had, we actually used technically to start Juggalo Hardcore Tag, which is exactly what that was. Now, Juggalo Hardcore Tag basically worked like this. And not for nothing, I think that we should bring it back, and maybe we will. But Juggalo Hardcore Tag, the way that worked was, in my case, it was a kendo stick, but basically you could use whatever you wanted. And you go up and you find a juggalo and say, "Hey, let me hit you with this," and then you go find the next person to hit. And you say, "Let me hit you with this." And then eventually you can change what thing you're hitting people with. This shit went for years where I wasn't the one who created it. The homie Rude Boy from Nobody Rides for Free in Delaware, he's the one that came up with it. And he blessed me that year in 2008 to be the one to start it. And then it carried on from there. But now with my kendo stick, they used other stuff. But again, obviously, it built up to the fucking stop sign where he was like, "Wreck his brain." And then he hit that motherfucker hard. That was funny. They actually had a
Juggalo game.
That is some Juggalo shit.
Quite frankly, I'm amazed that it hasn't come back. Maybe it needs to. That to me is better than spinning the wheel, in my opinion. Not a big fan of the wheel spin.
We're gonna screen cap it and put it up on socials, and we're gonna get that.
Juggalo hardcore tag. But like, bro, I got to tell you, I think that it's a funny thing that this culture is so like polarized in the sense of like, on one hand, you have people that are just glad they just make the music because they want to make it. Right. And they're into it and they love it. And not all of that music is great. I've been featured on some tracks with some not fucking great rappers, but they
put coke in your nose that day.
Yeah, well, you want to know what though? Not even so much that, more so. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Verses have paid my bills many times, right. But beyond that, just these people feel it. They feel this shit for real, and especially if you're an underground rapper and somebody not only likes your shit enough to want to make a song with you, but then in my case, after this many years, likes your shit enough that that they're willing to fucking pay you to do it. Then, like, because listen, I'll tell you right now, collab verses are usually my best verses. May not like my best verses because songs it's a different quantification, but a lot of my features, and it doesn't matter who it is, like I'm going fucking hard, and I love that. On one hand, there's that, but then on the other hand, there's this like juggalos do not fuck with juggalo rappers for the most part. Like the scene, oh yeah, there's a scene, and there are people that fuck with it genuinely, but the majority of juggalos I've seen clown on juggalo rappers for the most part.
Yeah, facts.
Which, by the way, I will say just real quick, because I know that they get a lot of play on here as they should. Clockwork E is one of the first genuine juggalo groups I've seen pop up in a long time that actually they can fucking rap, bro. Like if you listen to their shit, Juggalo Penis is a fucking bop. All right. Yes. That shit goes so hard. And I got to hang with, I'm such a prick for not knowing their rap names, but I know their names on Facebook. And Kyle.
It's the same.
It's the same. It's Kyle and Billy D.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Bro, I thought I couldn't like them more than I already do.
Those are our fucking homies for sure.
No, I have a major amount of love for anybody that will rap with basically their actual name. And because that was for me, I got the name MADD because Violent J was like, hey, listen, bro, Darkness is, and this is the best part. What he told me was it was a website issue. Hey, you're not going to be able to have a website because of this band, The Darkness. I think he just didn't want to be an asshole and be like, bro, Darkness is a corny fucking name. Pick something better. So fucking he was saying, I've been thinking about it, I'm going to get back to you on it. And then he told me, like, I've been thinking about this. I remember I even asked my girl about it. Like, what do you think about MAXXX? And I was like, you know what? I think it works just in the sense that, my name is Max. People have been calling me MAXXX. It's the thing, whatever. So yeah, fuck it. Let's go with that. And as the years have gone by, my whole thing is like Jay talked about this in Behind the Paint. Even if you don't have a gimmick, that's your gimmick. Your gimmick is that you don't have a gimmick. And for me, legit, that is basically what it came down to. Is my gimmick is there is no gimmick. I'm just an artist. I'm just me. I just do what I fucking do. And I think that like that's a funny thing though, just because to do that to its true natural conclusion, Juggalo shit is really one of the only places you can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, bro, I literally, it's so funny in the places that I've done it now, but where I just like, why can't I hit my tank in the movie theater? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, out in front of Carl's Tavern, we do that shit like it's not even we do that shit like nobody's watching.
We did for Clockside Fest too. We were all kind of chilling out there.
Oh, bro, I saw the video
before the show. Way before the show, and like we had normies walking past us. We were hitting the tank right in front of them and everything too, and it's just like, man, if this was this is only acceptable this day at this moment.
Oh no, and bro, it seems to be this weird fucking Juggalo energy where after a Hool Fest in fucking West Virginia, shout out to fans of the Hooligans, fucking
they fucking killed it.
Oh, bro, they never don't. Like, they are some of the most talented musicians I've ever met. Like, they're not just like, and here's the other thing. X-Man and Tito just put an album out recently, and I'm a dickhead because I haven't listened to it yet. I've been like really caught up. I want to give it the proper amount of attention. But bro, the first time I heard Tito rap, I remember I said something to him like, how fucking dare you? Who fucking, you can rap like that, and I didn't fucking know until just now. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, they are so good at what they do that it is mind-blowing to me that they're not already famous. They have the swagger, they have the look, they have the drive, it's just further proof that the good shit never really gets its day in court unless there's a lot of money behind it. Like, or if you get lucky and you happen to go viral, and even then, you still have to have something behind it, like financially. So it's like, it sucks, man. Those guys are for sure some of the most talented people I've ever met. And I'm really glad that I'm able to work with them like I do and have worked with them all the different times that I have. But to that end, fucking I just thought it was funny at Hulfest at the hotel afterwards, I was just hitting the tank in front of the hotel and just like not even concerned that a fucking cop might walk by or might drive by. It was just like, oh, we're in fucking West Virginia. Who gives a shit? No one cares what's going on here. But it's also like, bro, there is absolutely something to be said about just Juggalo energy. And it is chaotic and it's difficult to regulate and it's hard to be around a lot. But there really is something special about it. It's why I can't get away from it.
It's like it's very unhinged, like human behavior. Like
oh yeah, well listen, bro, I came to this conclusion not too long ago, and I believe this with every piece of my heart, is that Juggalos as people have always existed. They just went by different names, and we are basically the mentally ill outliers that like getting high. And by the way, it's all of those things in some degree. Some people, like let's say Tier Diaz, he feels this carnival shit like we feel this carnival shit. And he is sober as a fucking church mouse. He doesn't fucking do nothing. But he never has. I've known him for fucking a decade plus. I got roots with that dude. And he does not get high at all around a ton of people that do. And it's part of the reason why he's able to be so successful, quite frankly. But here's the thing. He's an outlier in his field. Whether or not he's mentally ill, I'm not sure. But he is an outlier in the sense that most people are not able to operate the way that he does. They're not able to keep the kinds of schedules that he does. They're not able to fucking live like the way that he lives. Again, it's not for nothing. And I love some of the people that I love the most in this world have been black juggalos and are black juggalos. But let's not lie and act as though it's common. It's like they're out there, but it's not a lot. And by the way, that also runs the gamut. Like there's somebody that I know, her name is Abir. She's a Muslim juggalo. And that's like meeting her as a Jewish juggalo was one of I love her so much, bro. Like the fact that it exists. She is a Muslim juggalo. I'm a Jewish juggalo. The fact that, and every time we see each other, it's just like, I'm so glad to see you. Like that to me, that's fucking heavy. Like this carnival shit is so fucking real, dog. Like
yeah, because I think in like any other standpoint, you probably would not.
It's not even so much. It's not even so much that. It's more so the fact of we who come from these very opposite sides. Which, by the way, we might not even be ideologically that much opposed. Because I'm not really a religious Jew. I'm Jewish because my grandfather survived the Holocaust, and pretty much for no other reason. You know what I mean? Outside of that, Abrahamic religion is fucking whatever. But to that end, just the fact of it was not something I ever expected. The idea that there was the Arab, Muslim, or the Sikh, anything like that in that direction, and also a juggalo, never would have fucking never in a million years. And it's just the people that are engrossed in this culture are in many cases either one of three things or a combination of the three. Either an outlier as a person, mentally ill, or addicted to drugs. It's somewhere within that, and every juggalo I have ever met has been somewhere within that range. Which by the way,
we're like, I also run into individuals who are like, they just really just don't give a fuck.
Well, no, by the way, that is what I'm saying, because that's outlier behavior.
Okay.
Most people do. Like, most people care.
So would you say like so there's like an outlaw way of life? Those people are
absolutely. Well, no, listen, outlaw is a different way to say it, but you also have to qualify that because outlaw technically refers to a totally different thing. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Outlaw refers to, as far as I know it, like gangbangers and bikers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's genuine outlaw, which, by the way, a lot of juggalos are.
Yep.
Which, by the way, that's why I was saying it's not even so much that most juggalos are criminals. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that most juggalos are positive on criminals, and most juggalos know people that are criminals. You know what I'm saying? Because, by the way, being a criminal doesn't immediately mean that you are constantly committing crimes or that you are like, you know, just some organized fucking gangbanger drug dealer. But the reality is that there are a lot of people that choose to live outside of the law. And they know that there are fucking consequences for it. Most of us, like, and there's another one of these things about being a juggalo. That's why I shot fucking the merry-go-round broke down where I did. Like, not everybody, like my mother genuinely has never had to go into a courtroom ever. She's 60-something years old, has never been in a courtroom. Like, there's something to be said about that. Not everybody has had to live their life either in the system, foster care, have to fucking, people don't know what it's like to have your entire life be in the hands of one or two, maybe three other people that may not necessarily have your best interest in mind. Like, and that's the whole thing, is that juggalos, in many cases, when you've had to live a life like that, and you've had to go through that kind of shit, that's one of the things that connects us. Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. I never really experienced any real hardship, especially financially, until after I grew up. My father grew up in Brooklyn and worked his ass off to make a lot of money. My mother came from Long Island. She helped my father make that money. And me and my sister really never wanted for anything growing up. But I will also say that after I grew up, I have to make my own money. I work. I absolutely, I was raised with the right fucking right values. But sure, I will absolutely say, in my case, the idea of being an outlier is not only being Jewish, but my grandfather survived the Holocaust. Again, that is not common shit. As a matter of fact, it's so uncommon that there's a lot of people out there that think it didn't even fucking happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, now, a lot of those people are fucking retarded, but that's a different story entirely.
A lot of people think the fucking earth is flat, too.
Bro, let's not even get into that, because apparently I just ended a friendship today over that.
Damn.
I didn't even mean to. They were the one that ended it. They just got upset that I was fucking cracking wise a little bit.
Bro,
you know what I mean? I'm sorry. Look, at a certain point, if you want to believe it and just be like, it's fine, I believe what I believe, then okay. But if you want to be like shoving it down like, oh, you just don't understand the real.
People have to believe it.
I'm sorry. I'm not signed on for that. But no, and by the way, I will say that I can absolutely still have a lot of love for somebody that believes the earth is flat. And a big part of that is because I'm a juggalo. Because you want to know what? I ain't got no right to fucking judge nobody. I am who I am. I am fallible like any other fucking person. And I have no right to be like, I'm better than you because of A, B, and C. Like, that's one of these things about the fucking Juggalo underground, like with rappers and shit, where it's like, dog, not only even just as a rapper should you be humble, whether you're making money or not, because technically you're just a paid clown.
Right.
We're in the fucking underground where nobody's here because we're getting rich. Nobody's here because it is some like springboard to fame, or is there like, we are all here because this shit is real to us. So when people come in and they're not for real about it, it really sticks out. It's like, fucking, what are you actually trying to do here? Like, it's actually kind of sad because I don't, and it's funny, and I'm sure his name has been brought up here before. I don't dislike the guy, and he seems to be fairly genuine. but this dude, Midnight and Yami, however you say his name, that was it. Like I've been trying to be cool about it. He said he was going to send me a track. I never got it, but it's like he kind of fucking popped up real fast.
Yeah.
And here's the problem with it, by the way.
Me personally, I don't fuck with dude. I can't speak from anybody else, but I don't fuck
No, I'm not, and I feel you. My thing is, I don't necessarily fuck with his style of music, but I've heard way worse Juggalo rappers in the past. So it's like, that's a wash. But my thing is that, again, you pop up that quickly, and but this was my problem with it. This is where I was going. I forgot. He got booked on the Shaggy Show in his city, like right away. And whether or not he paid for it, if that's really all it takes, because technically speaking, if you got the money, just keep paying to play on Juggalo shows, and then eventually you stick around long enough, people are going to be like, oh, he's part of the scene. Like, people don't want to look at it like that, but that's the reality of the Juggalo scene now, that if you want to keep doing this pay-to-play bullshit, that whoever the fuck wants to can come jump into the scene. And and again, my thing is, this dude seems like a decent enough guy. He doesn't seem like a piece of shit, but at the same time, Juggalo culture was never supposed to be this way. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't supposed to be a thing that you can just kind of fucking pick up and put down.
No. With Midnight Yami's case, I do believe it was a lot of his fan base happened to be Juggalos, and they're like, why the fuck aren't you doing these kind of shows and stuff? And it piqued his interest to the point where he was like, okay, what's this all about? And then he was, I can't remember if he did a song first and then it was well received, or if then like right
no,
after
he did the song, people liked it, and then he did the show after that. And again, this is kind of my point, is that he was cordial to me, he was nice to me. I've heard worse Juggalo rappers than him. And he does definitely have a fan base. So here's the thing. What it basically comes down to, because listen, I'm a lot nicer about this than a lot of other people that I talked to about it. A lot of other people are straight up calling him Juff as fuck. So I'm trying to be diplomatic. I'm trying to be a nice guy, because that's just who I am as a person with Juggalo shit. I don't gatekeep for fucking nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who wants to be a part of the culture, as long as you're a dough shit. See? That's what it is. See, that's what I get for being a nice guy. But fucking the whole thing is, when I found this culture, man, I remember it being where if you hadn't been down for a certain amount of time, then you weren't down. Like, I got down to Malenko, so the Juggalos that I was meeting were like, oh bro, that's the fucking pop culture shit. I've been down since fucking Ringmaster, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like with these guys do still exist, but the Merchalos, you know those guys?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those guys are fun. The guys that are like, you ain't got enough merch, so you ain't down enough.
Yeah, exactly right.
And that's what I'm saying, man, is that everybody should be able to do it, but I do sometimes question whether or not, because you want to know what? Put it to you like this: with Midnight and Yami, I got no issue with the guy, but I would ask him, if I got a chance to ask him, what's your favorite Joker's card? And what's your favorite song off that Joker's card, and why?
That was a whole
Because to me, like,
it was like, what I was saying is like a lot of his, like, I think people were putting like kind of like putting him into that spot of like, you know,
yeah, you think they did? And maybe I didn't observe it the same way.
He came in uneducated to our culture, like you know what I mean.
That was how I seen it, because I seen it happen like in real time.
I like to refer it to kind of like the same way that Cluner came in.
Who?
Like Cluner, King of Farmington.
It's funny because that name does sound a little bit familiar, but I don't actually. I'm not familiar. It's not ringing a bell.
Right. A lot of Juggalos fucked with him because of his style of rapping. It was comical.
Right.
And they're like, and then, they pressed for him to be at the gathering. He went to the gathering. He's like, oh, I guess, he's like, damn, this is what it's about. I guess I'm a Juggalo now. And then he did the song,
I can dig that.
He did a song, and it's kind of like satire in a way, you know what I mean? Like it's his style rap. It's what he does. But I mean, I think with like I was saying with Yami, he was more uneducated, and I do know of some personal ninjas that are like really big into the scene that kind of like messaged him right away and was like, "Hey, that's not how it works with us. You can't just come up and expect to be big dog right away. Like you're gonna have to grind for that shit. You know what I mean?" And I think he did. I think he did get that point and shit. And kind of like what
I
you
mean,
said,
again,
man.
listen,
Like
it's
I never
mostly
got
been.
bad vibes from him. Yeah,
Oh
I
no,
just
true indeed.
feel like he
I
was
haven't got
uneducated.
any. I haven't got any bad vibes from him. The only thing to me was that, like I said, it felt like from the time that he found out about Juggalos to the time that he was making songs about them,
It was not. Yeah,
that was a very quick transition. But I mean, listen, this is kind of the reality of it. Is that if you're gonna do something like that, I think that time will tell. That's the reality
yeah,
of it. Is that as time goes by, if he remains authentic to it, then I'm an asshole, technically speaking. And by the way, I'm not even
Come on.
disparaging the guy, is the other part. It's just as a juggalo that's been doing this for a long time, like you got to understand, especially in Massachusetts, like the people that I used to fuck with, do fuck with, like problematic, Weird Die Young, Outland Camp, Nine Mills. Um, like we've been doing this juggalo rap shit for like 15 years out here,
Right.
and when the whole thing is not for nothing, but that was part of the reason why. And I also want to qualify this by saying I have no issue with Blase Rose whatsoever. I think that she's pretty cool. We've met like once or twice. She's always been nice to me. But this is one of the reasons why a lot of people from this area didn't really fuck with her when she first came out, was because she was from New England, and New England is heavy, heavy Juggalo territory. And yet when she came out, nobody had ever seen her do any shows. Nobody had ever really heard it. Even from the pre-Blase Rose, I think she went by Tippy at the time, she really hadn't put much out. She hadn't done shows. She hadn't done anything. And so a lot of people were looking at it like, so why do you get to just fucking hop up and be like, she got introduced at the Wizard Gathering. Think about that.
right.
Like that's a pretty wild happenstance. It's also wild to consider the Gmo Ski was at the Wizard Gathering.
I call that full eat more skeet. I can't stand him.
No, listen, I got to tell you, it makes me sad. He's one of these people where, first of all, we share a birthday.
Oh, damn.
So
Okay.
that's number one. But number two, it's infuriating to me that he's as good of a rapper as he is, but he is also so fucking arrogant. Like,
And yeah.
no, and listen, bro, the fact that a lot of people are never going to forgive him for dissing Jay. You know what I'm saying? And as rightfully so, quite frankly. But I think that it also speaks to, because, we were talking about Twisted earlier, the fact that he dissed Violent J when he did, left Magic Ninja, and then they brought him back. So they're still co-signing that. Like, it's kind of what I'm saying. Like, if that's how it's going to be, fine. Like, whatever. It's especially, unless I ever got fucking blessed or some shit, it's not my beef. But the reality of the situation is that shit is real for y'all. So why are you going to continue to keep your fucking one foot in this world that you supposedly want to escape from? Like, I don't fucking, like I said, it took me some years to get there because of some personal situations, but I really do look at it where, again, my face is not tattooed to thousands of fucking people across the world, not even just the country, but the world, and fucking feel the shit really strongly, which I will also say, in the fair, in the interest of objectivity, there are a lot of old school hardcore juggalos that absolutely feel Twisted, side with Twisted. I know that a lot of people kind of push this narrative that like real juggalos don't fuck with Twisted no more. And that's debatable, I suppose, mainly because I'm very good friends with people that I care about very deeply, that I've loved for a long time, that have been juggalos since the family era, that still fuck with Twisted. And you're not going to tell me that I can't love them no more. And you're not going to tell me that they're not juggalos. So at that point, I know it's a difficult conversation. And again, like I said, I feel differently about it than I used to. But I think that it's like I'm saying, for it on my side is one thing, but on their side, like, that's why I just, like I said, and an ironic distance, I thought that it was funny that they were doing that shit and people were getting upset about it. But after having some time to think about it and not looking at it that way, the idea that they continue to do Lotus and Riders as though it's just this like that was an important part of the culture, bro. Like, you guys have been around since the 90s, so you're going to know what I mean when I say this. Bro, there was a time at the gathering where if you told somebody that you weren't going to the Riders set, like, oh, I'm just going to bed, that was basically grounds for a fight. Like, what the fuck do you mean you ain't about to go watch the fucking Riders? You better fucking get over there right now. Or if you said you didn't like the Riders, that was for sure grounds for a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, maybe that was just my experience, but I remember that shit fucking definitively. And like, I don't know, it's a funny thing because let me ask you this, because you guys have been around for a long time, so let me ask you something. Or I'll preface it with a story and then I'll finish it with a question. I remember when I went to Arizona, my aunt was living in Phoenix. And so I went out there because I had been talking to some people online, some juggalos. And so, or actually, you know what? I take it back. It might have been just I went out there for fucking, was I going there just to see one person? Either way, maybe it was the second time that I went back there. I honestly can't remember. But I went to the mall. I can't remember what the name of the mall was, but I wasn't even 18. We couldn't buy cigarettes. I gave some dude like $10 to go buy me cigarettes because all the kids that I was hanging with, fucking nobody was 18 either. And he fucking basically walked off with my money. And so then I tell these guys that I was hanging with, and then I swear to God, we were 20 fucking deep walking through that mall looking for those guys.
Right.
And then we never found them, which is probably good because some of us would have got fucking arrested that day. But like, do you guys think, and I was totally strangers to these people. I met them that day. We were just juggalos. That was just what it was. Like, do you think that it's still like that? Do you think that if you went into a city where you didn't fucking know nobody and you ran into, and granted, there's not fucking swaths of juggalos hanging out at the malls anymore. That's not happening anymore. But do you think that it's still, because that, by the way, just for the record, that's the real reason why juggalos were considered a gang, if you ask me. Because as a juggalo, I personally have experienced this more than once, where you can go from to any major American city and even certain major fucking cities in other countries. And if you got a hatchet, man, and you are for real about your shit, you're plugged into that city.
Yeah. I still got so I went to London to
London, yeah, they got juggalos in London, bro. That's a fact.
Well, I'm like I went there obviously to see Ouija, and I met all these people there, and like, yeah, they're like my family now. Like, you know what I mean? That's
fuck, like, yeah, man, that's tight as hell, dude.
Yeah, and it's like that, and but kind of like what you're saying, I kind of want to tell a story about like I walked into a random ass Taco Bell once, and the dude that was working the fucking window or the back fry or whatever he was working, you know what I mean? Right. He noticed all my gear and shit, and he came like, so he made his way up to the front counter, and like we dabbed each other up like fucking juggalos do, you know what I mean? Like, no hesitation, like whoop whoop, fucking like, you know, hugged each other basically. And like all of his coworkers were just looking around like, well, I guess they knew each other, but in fact, I've never met this motherfucker in my life. Like, nope, I never, bro. Yeah. I got another one. When I was living in Denver years and years ago, I was walking down Colorado, and fucking it was snowing so fucking hard, and I can't remember why I was down there. Probably trying to get weed would be my guess.
Trying to get fucking crack.
That well, you want to know what? Here's the other funny thing about Denver. Denver is the first city I was ever offered crack in my life.
Oh yeah, bro. I decided it's the first city I've ever seen anybody flopped out on fentanyl. So there's first for everybody.
Yeah, no, Denver has always definitely been. It's that Rocky Mountain High. But so no, I remember I'm walking fucking where maybe I was walking to a bus stop. Who fucking knows? And I lost it since then, but back in the day, there was the leather jacket, and then they had the wool jacket. I had the wool jacket, and I was rocking that shit, walking, because it was actually pretty warm. And I'm just fucking hating life because it's so cold. and then a fucking, like, it was a Crown Victoria or like one of those kinds of like old school, like square station wagon cars pulls up, and a window rolls down. There's a chick in the front seat that I'm pretty sure was pregnant, and then there's a juggalo sitting in the car. I mean, they're both juggalos, and there's a dude sitting on the passenger side. He just rolls the window down and he goes, "Woo woo." I was like, "Oh shit, what's up, family? How you doing?" And then he was like, "Yo, you need a ride?" I was like, "Fuck yes, I do." And he did. They didn't drive me all the way there. They brought me up fucking Colfax to my
shit. You were down by Colfax. You were trying to score some crack.
Well, no, and so here's the thing. The school that I was going to, the dorms were at Ivanhoe and 8th. And you could walk over to Colfax to get the bus to go downtown to downtown Denver, 16th Street Mall and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I would do that fairly often because that's where the campus was. But I would also, there was a couple of gun stores I used to walk around and check shit out at, but fucking, I just remember, and the dude, they had their kid was in the back seat. And I just think about that where like, just because all I did was have a fucking jacket on and you saw that and you want to know, and you're like, you know what? Let's see if he needs a ride. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, and I've had so many different stories of shit like that over the years where just like, again, for better or for worse, man, it makes me sad because I think the Juggalos, United States of Insanity was a really good ICP story.
Yep.
But I don't feel like any documentarian has really captured what Juggalo life and Juggalo culture actually looks like yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the whole thing is a lot of Juggalos that are for real about shit, they wouldn't even necessarily do it if they were approached. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't necessarily be down to like fucking talk about the culture. But I think that, I hope it happens someday, man, because there's just so many stories, so many people that I've met about like Jay is 1,000% right. Juggalos are what make ICP cool. ICP's music is great, but the fact that this culture exists that we all create by being a part of it is like, and it's weird, man, because the carnival is God is some shit that's hard to explain to people. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain to people that, like, oh, I seen the face of God and his face was painted. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the carnival's God. Like, I don't know if Jay necessarily means like God of above and shit, but for me,
oh, absolutely. Well, no, it's whatever you believe God is.
Yeah, to me, carnival is a God because like I'm acknowledging the fact that there's a higher power than me exists, and the carnival definitely like is a representation of that. I don't know.
Well, listen, bro.
Thing, but it's definitely the outlet to what it fucking wants to do.
Well, bro, think about it like this. So, and not for nothing, I had this experience most recently with she probably fucking dipped out by now, but Just Jekyll. There was the Portuguese festival. I had never seen that before. It's, if you can fucking make it out for Labor Day weekend, it's fucking, you're getting pulled through the streets of West Warwick while you drink and smoke weed on a party float. It's incredible, and then you throw shit out to me. It's fucking incredible. But so while doing this, there's a couple of different things, but
and giving to travel and throw shit at people is definitely my alley.
Oh yeah, no, it's fucking fantastic. But so this is my point. Like, you're throwing little fucking things like this came off the float, little soccer ball. Mm-hmm. But we had fucking whistles, which I can't find mine anymore. But we had these little whistles that look like soccer balls. So we were Team Rape Whistle, and fucking
God.
We were throwing these, like, bro, we would throw these things off, like either little candies, little things. We would throw them off the float, and these kids would be so fucking happy just to get this little chintzy fucking whatever, like, so happy. And I was, well, but believe me, I have a point. So the like, every religion, every group, whatever, has these feast days, these carnival days. The church puts on carnivals all the time.
Right.
And there are some kids where like they look forward the whole year to doing that. For some people, it's the Kentucky Derby or whatever, you know, like the steeplechase down in southern New Jersey, or it's NASCAR or whatever it is. And you just really have a lot of fun doing this thing, being around other people. And some people want to try to live their life year round like that. They want to feel like that year round because that they want to be able to have that kind of fun. But
one of those.
that's, well, I mean, here's the thing. If you can make it work, being a juggalo, that's kind of one of the things where you can do it, but it's going to have some side effects. You're going to be, you're going to be a very interesting individual. And I believe me, I would know, we can smell our own. Like, the fact is that the carnival is God to me means that the carnival is that unseen, unnamed force that causes us to do the things that we want, the things that we love, the things that mean something to us. And I think the carnival is just such a perfect representation of, like, if you go to a good carnival, it's such a good microcosm of the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Like, you get to see, like, the way that people behave when they're out to have fun is way different than the way that they behave in most of the rest of their life.
Right.
And that's one of the cool things about juggalos is that, like, at the gathering, you can do fucking whatever. As long as you're not hurting nobody that doesn't want to be hurt, as long as you ain't subjecting a child to some, that's actually kind of not true. No, because listen, bro, at the gathering this year, I had one where, because I'm usually with kids at the gathering, it's just kind of like you have to accept it. It's like fucking heroin at the gathering. It's going to show up whether you want it to or not. And I seen this lady, I heard that she got fucking somebody called CPS on her, but this big black lady was holding this baby that could not have been more than 6 months old. What the fuck are you bringing a 6-month-old baby to a fucking gathering for? That is the most irresponsible shit I ever heard in my life. Pregnant going to the gathering. You can do that. You just got to be careful with it and not do fucking drugs. Go to the gathering with your young child. I think that it's debatable because people do things like have fucking gangbangs out in the open. So, like, I don't know if you want your kids to see that, but, you know, parenting constitutionally, we all have the right to do it our own way. So, whatever. But bringing a fucking tiny baby that if you let that baby down, it's going to go put fucking rocks in its mouth. It's going to, so what if a baby ground scores a fucking teener of Molly, like, what do you need that to be on your fucking conscience? Like, leave your fucking baby at home. I got a homie who had a little tiny baby that I think that he maybe brought into the gathering for brief periods, but mostly kept the baby back at the hotel with his kid's mother, which, again, debatable, but if you did it because you love Juggalo shit so much that you were like, I need my baby to be at the gathering, but then after I leave it, because the baby's not going to fucking remember it,
Bro,
and then you bring him back to the hotel, that's one thing. But just walking through the fucking gathering with a toddler or anything of that level, like, fuck that's you. Wild. What? No.
Yeah.
I can't sign on for that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not my forte. I'm not a dad. I don't have kids.
So that's the difference. I got fucking multiple children, and because listen, bro,
Juggalo children at the gathering are like the bottle kids on Trailer Park Boys.
Listen. Here's the thing: if you are, because look, let me tell you something. I think that technically speaking, even though it's a questionable choice, you can bring your teenager to the gathering and have an amazing time. But here's the different part about it. Like in my case, my son's not a juggalo. He respects the culture. Like, he recognizes that it's a real thing. He doesn't think, like, you know, he's listened to some songs. He gets down with it. But it's not real for him yet. Maybe someday it will be. Maybe because of how real it is for me, eventually he will think maybe I should look further into this. But as of now, it's not. And my thing is, nothing that I do, I wouldn't push him to rap. I wouldn't push him to get into the scene. God forbid. Like, I don't push him to do the things that I do just because I want him to fucking, I don't know, carry on the torch or fucking whatever. I want him to do the shit that he wants to do. But at the same time, like I said, I am glad at the very least that he does, like, he recognizes that it's not just, you know, people doing goofy shit. Like, there is absolutely something behind it. And I think that that's one of those funny things where it's a double-edged blade, where you want people to take Juggalos more seriously so the Juggalos can be, like, more accepted in a way. But that also kind of, it like defeats the purpose. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
It's very it's difficult. But I mean, again, I feel that way just because I mean, again, this has been the most significant thing in my life.
Out in the corner.
Say again?
I really don't have a problem with being like the ostracized and stuff like that. Like,
no, and you want to know what? Neither do I. I just, if anything, and I will tell you, having kids forces you to be a little bit more objective about those kinds of things. But let me tell you a story. My son's best friend, his parents are like outstandingly decent people. The one, she just got her doctorate recently. She runs the housing, or she did run the housing department at a college around the corner. The dad is a vice principal, or was a vice principal at a school not far away. And I remember having a conversation with her, and this was at least 2 or 3 years ago, where I was telling her about the jobs I was working. I was working Uber, and then I was doing something else. And then when I told her that, and she said, "Oh, don't you mean 3 jobs?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, you make music too, right?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess I wouldn't have thought that you would consider that a legitimate profession." And it's one of these kinds of things where I have definitely not approached music professionally the way that I should have in a lot of cases. But it's also just because I do this shit because I feel it. I'd love to make money doing it, but I do it because it feels real to me, and it feels like something that I just need to do. And the fact that these people would still look at it like it is a like valid and worthy pursuit, you know what I mean? Like, that is definitely something that I hope that, because again, it sucks where a lot of Juggalo rappers are not very good at it, but they just feel it. Like, they just want to do it because it's something that they love. Like, they want to be part of it so much. Because that's how I fucking did it. That was the only reason it happened that way. Because I was just like, I love this culture. I want to be a part of it. And then I read Behind the Paint, and I saw how, oh, you mean you can just kind of go out and do it? Oh, all right. Well, then I'll do that then. And fucking, especially for the fact, and I think about this sometimes, I was 19 years old, so prime brain developing years.
Right.
And then really think about it, the way that Juggalos look at ICP, and granted, they look at it a little differently now than they used to, but there's still a lot of reverence. I think you would agree. We revere ICP. And so the idea here is that I'm a 19-year-old kid, and then Violent J tells you, as soon as you finish high school, by the way, just finish high school, you have to set out into the world and see what you're going to do with your life. And Violent J, who basically, in my mind, is the equivalent of, like, to a normal person, like, if you played basketball and Michael Jordan called you.
Right.
Like, hey, you want to come play basketball for me? What the fuck did you just say? And so I, like, for it to have happened that way, it's like I said, we've never even had a follow-up conversation, and I'm not even bothered by that. I don't need to have the fact that I played the Gathering at night the year that it was the Gathering of Dreams, where the night that I played was the Juggalos night, where the people that played were the people that were requested by Juggalos. That's what I fucking was told. And the fact that that happened that way was, again, it was catharsis, and it felt like, because I deal with a lot of imposter syndrome. And it's one of these, again, you know, like having grown up where I've had so many fucking friends, bro, that like their families are their greatest enemies, and that they have no fucking support system, and that they have nobody helping them. And the idea that they still find a way, and that we know each other through this culture. And I never had to live like that. which, by the way, is the reason why I've always paid it forward. And believe me, you fucking check my resume. The amount of people that I've let live with me.
I think on that on some of this note, we're gonna have to end it because we're like at 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah, no, fair enough. I didn't know how long. I didn't know how long you guys actually ran, so I was just, again, we're keeping it going.
Good. You touched upon a subject matter that I really wanted to end on, though, and that's like when you find out that you're a juggalo and then the other juggalos exist, you realize like my other life kind of really isn't shit, and unless these people get involved, and it does, you're not alone. Like Ouija kind of hit the nail on that. Like if you're a juggalo, you're not alone. And
no, absolutely. I think that the big thing about being a juggalo has always been that everybody's always looking for a tribe. In some way, we're all looking for a tribe. And the juggalo tribe is lit as fuck. But it is also, a lot of difficulty and drama comes with it. Like I said, I meet this kid outside the fucking Ouija show and fucking telling me about he's got driving down to Florida because it's too cold to stay up here. And, he's just been listening to Ouija Mac and it's been fucking like helping him get through. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember feeling that way about ICP, and the idea that it's continuing to happen is, I feel like that's really important, because this is some shit that Juggalo culture, Insane Clown Posse will last as long as Insane Clown Posse can last. I don't know. But Juggalo shit will last as long as we decide it's going to.
Yeah, for sure.
So I look at it where it really is, if you feel like nothing else makes sense, it's one of the great things about this community, because it doesn't have to make sense.
No.
As long as you got love, and as long as you are, it's supposed to be, as long as you're well intentioned. Some shitty members have fucking snuck in, and again, we'd be on here for another fucking hour talking about those guys, but I'd rather end on a good note, which is, I really appreciate you guys having me here. I really like having conversations like this, because Juggalo shit is really deep. You know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of people just look at it like, oh, that's just, crazy drug, festival music. And it's like, nah, there's a lot of profundity and realness in this shit. It's just a matter of how you look at it. And I'm really glad you guys had me on. I feel like I am in good company with all the different shit that you guys have done over all this time. I'm really glad that the show is still going after. How long have you guys been doing this now?
For a year.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Elixir and Onset have been doing it for a year. I've been doing, honestly, I've got like 4 years of experience on the Juggalo YouTube.
Right. Okay.
But this channel's been going strong for about a year.
Yeah.
Right. No, for whatever reason, I heard about the Juggalo show last year, which, by the way, I do want to point this out, because it is always all love, but I do want to tell you, there is a homie, when I first moved out here to Massachusetts, there was a homie, his name is Josh, he goes by Trigger to Schizo, and he did a song called, I don't know if it was Life of a Thuggalo or just Thuggalo, but for sure. And this was back in, again, I came out here in 2008, 2009, around that time, where that has definitely always been a thing. Like, Thuggalos are some real ass motherfuckers. They are, for sure, they are out there. Yep. And I think that it's really cool that you guys are, and again, based on from what I've seen of what you do with the show, that you guys are legit in carrying that moniker. Like, I fuck with that. So I really do appreciate you guys having me on here.
Oh,
Say again?
I said, obviously, we really appreciate that sentiment.
Fuck yeah, man.
Normally we only go for an hour and a half, but like, you've been dropping facts and
bro,
proofs
I just like letting it run,
just going on, so we definitely had to let it run the extra hour and shit. But yeah,
fuck, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate that shit.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, anytime, man. I am always down to fucking come kick it.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Cool. It's definitely gonna be.
Well, hey, again, it has
Juggalo, Ohio.
You want to know what? Put it to you like this: it was my every intention to do so, but my money really ain't where I'd like it to be, and
understandable.
It's the kind of thing where it would have really just been to promote.
Yeah.
And at that, because again, I fuck with the crowd and I fuck with what's going on over there, but it's a show I would go to, but 13 hours, because I flying is too much for me at this point.
Facts.
It's got to be. It's like what fucking dude said in Tulsa King. It's like the value needs to be at a certain level. But fucking, I did really want to go because I know it is going to be a fucking balls out party. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is going to be a crazy time, and I wish I could be there for it. But again, I super fuck with y'all, man. I appreciate you guys having me. And yeah, again, anytime you guys want to do this, man, we'll fucking we'll do it up.
We'll definitely have to do it again for sure.
Fuck yeah, man.
But with that, whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop, it's been
real.
Two wicked whoops for your fucking face. Check out the Carnival Grounds on Spotify and iTunes and where the fuck else ever.
Yeah.
And my music is on. You just Google the name you're seeing right there, MADD Double D Triple X. You gotta spell it like that though, because there's other people that do MADD under different names, like different spellings and shit. So, but that one, if you spell it that way, I come right up. So, much love to you guys. I'll see y'all again. And yeah, no, whatever the next show is, bro, we're gonna get it in with the big 2,000 grammars. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Motherfuckers got my name on it with a handle and shit. We're gonna fucking make it happen.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's fucking go. All right, brother. Much love.
Run that bitch, Elixir.
Hey, shout out Juggalo Show in this bitch. Every fucking city. Juggalo Show represent. Free Will in the bitch. Darby in the bitch. Shout out Juggalo Show. Love you motherfuckers for real, bro.
Hey, this is Ouija Mac, the ugliest juggalo that ever fucked your bitch. Tune into the Thuggalo podcast or you ain't shit, ho.